Myself, Jamie Brent, and you'll be meeting someone a little bit later too. You can hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or you can chat to us via the YouTube chat. I suppose at some point I better introduce myself, and so that you know exactly who's talking to you. My name is Taylor, and on camera with me today is Ferg. And like I said, there'll be somebody new that you'll be meeting a little bit later. Now, we actually had a very funny a scene at one point. But unfortunately, the animals, of course, being wild animals, did not cooperate and did not stay in the same spot. But basically, we had this group of giraffe down below, all facing up towards the escarpment. And then the giraffe that you can see on the far right-hand corner was turned facing the rest. So it sort of looked like everybody was getting ready for a choir sort of sequence, and our friend in front was going to head the whole project, and I'm sure his words would have been, "Let's hum," because it's the only sound that giraffe can really sort of make, besides the odd snort and grunt and strange sounding things. Otherwise they're fairly quiet creatures. It's so nice to see such a big group like this, and they're on their way back up to the escarpment. We actually saw a couple of their relatives up on the top already. Haven't been seeing them up all the way near camp. They haven't been on the airstrip. The zebra and the topi have been hanging around and living on the airstrip over the last couple of days. But I think when we go for our runs, we're going to be seeing another species. We're going to be seeing the giraffe up there too. But it's a lovely day though, like I said. There's not a rain cloud in sight. A bit hazy. It's a bit hot, in fact. But we're not going to have any rain this evening. Well, at least not during the show, which was quite cool. That's quite nice to have some clear skies and not have to worry about putting sides up and down, although it's much easier now, so it's actually not really a bother at all. Obviously some flies, with there not being too much rain to keep them at bay, they're all right after all the moisture, and they of course will be sitting around the giraffe's eyes, around their nose. If they've got a wound, they'll be gathering around there too, but no wounds that I can see on this giraffe, or any of these giraffe. In fact, they all look lovely and healthy and fit and fresh. Isn't that cool? No oxpeckers though bouncing about. I thought we would have seen a whole flock of them. Well, none up in the front. Maybe they're hanging around, the ones towards the end. What is going on over here? Is this one on the right hand side? It's down the splits. Are you eating? Look at this. So the other day I was talking to you about how giraffes sometimes go for the smaller shrubs. Here is exactly what's going on. See, they do that. So they're not eating the grass, but not drinking water, but going for a very tasty shrub that's just growing on the floor. And munching it away. Now trying to get it down. Another one just coming through frame. Needs to walk a few steps further. That could be quite an interesting shot. Looks like a very tasty plant. No table manners, though. The equivalent of a piece of spaghetti, I suppose, to you and I haven't actually even seen that one growing around. Looks like it's got tiny little berries, or maybe that's the buds of the flowers. No, done with it now. Not having any more. And there's even a third small head. You can just see the ossicones. Very curious, going, what were you eating? What was that plant? There's the oxpeckers. They're back. So all I had to do is just mention them. Now, I did say that there was a surprise that will be happening today. So I'm about to introduce you all to a fella by the name of Ralph, who is going to be trying out for a presenter position. So I look forward to your drive, and I hope that you do too. Let's go across to him.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ralph, and here we are on Djuma Game Reserve on the Sabi Sands. And this morning, Tristan, who was your guide for the morning, he had you with some wild dogs. But these guys move massive areas in short space of time. So we've been out looking for them. But at the moment, it's quite hot, and I do believe that probably this morning, with that little bit of coolness in the air, a little bit of rain about, I do think that they might have moved moved quite a big distance. So we're just bumbling around, having a look to see what we can find. I'm new to the area, so please bear with me. We've got Viam on the camera, and we've got Megan at FC. And please just bear with me while I drive around, bumble around, try to see what we can find in the heat of the day. As it gets a little bit further along in the day, we might start to see a little bit more movement. But at the moment, the birds are even quiet. It's about 32 degrees, and we've got quite a few cumulus clouds building up, so it might even be heading towards a little bit of rain a little bit later, a bit of thunder showers, but we'll see how we go. But in the meantime, I'm going to start finding my way around the reserve. First time up for me, so let's do it. And please, as we move along, fire away your questions, and okay, so please fire away your questions, folks, and get to know me. I hopefully will be around for a little bit of a while, but in the meantime, I think we're going to be crossing over to Jamie, who might have something for a little bit more interesting for you.
I don't have anything more interesting for you. I'm very sorry, but good afternoon and welcome to the Sunset Safari. My name is Jamie, and this afternoon Jahawi is on camera with me. And very exciting to have Ralph. I'm sure you'll all be very kind to him and as welcoming as you always are. Send him some nice questions, make him feel a little bit more comfortable about the whole process, because it's a bit terrifying. Also, send through any questions that you would like answered on #SafariLive on Twitter. But Jahawi and I have been out almost the entire day. Not quite, but almost the entire day. And we haven't had any success at all. So we're looking for the 5 musketeers, the 5 cheetah brothers. And we've heard that they were in this area. Were being a strong word. I don't really know exactly. It's difficult to gauge at times the accuracy of the reports that one receives. So what I'm doing at the moment is I'm driving around all of the shady spots where a cheetah might like to hide on a blazing hot day, because this is one of the warmest days we've had in the Mara, or at least it's the sunniest day that we've had in a long time. So I'm thinking they probably wanted a little bit of shade somewhere. Now, is this the tree? No, this wasn't the tree. Earlier on we found their tracks and we found their scat at the base of one of these Balanites trees where they'd come and scent marked. Don't think it was this one though. No, it wasn't this one. So somewhere in this region... oh, excuse me. This was not the tree. I think that was the tree. One of these trees was the tree. So somewhere in this region, they've been through, they've scent marked their territory, and now, where have they gone? They could have gone anywhere. It's really difficult for us to tell. So what we're doing is we're lurking in the same area in the hope that as it gets cooler, they're going to hop out, and then we'll be able to pick up the signs of behavioral changes from the other animals. So for example, there's lots, if I stop so we can scan not into the sun, but if we have a look around us, we've got lots of different animals around. So there's lots and lots of zebra, lots of topi, Thompson's gazelle, and wildebeest, of course. So if they do pop out of these thickets somewhere, we should see a change in behavior of the animals, or potentially hear alarm calls. So that's what we're doing. We are lurking probably, well, quite far to the east of where we last saw them. I'm hoping that they might come out. If they don't, well, we'll figure things out as we go along. We'll see what else we can find you. But essentially that is the plan for this afternoon. Okay, now what? I've checked all the shady parts. I haven't seen them. But of course, unless I drive straight into the thicket, I'm not going to see them if they're in the depths of it. And they're cheetah. They're animals that are used to moving about during the day, so they're not as likely to be in the shade as something like a lion or a leopard would be. And now I'm just going backwards and forwards, waiting. A bit of patience. Okay. This is really quite a confusing area. Look at all the potential thickets they could be in. They could be in those over there, off to the right. Oh, there's a big hole. They could so easily be there. I don't know. We don't know where they are. The worrying thing is, and wouldn't be the first time that it's happened to me, is we could be following along behind an inaccurate rumor, which has happened to me before. I've been told that the boys are in one place, and it turns out that they were completely in the opposite direction. I was told they were in Naiboshore Conservancy, which is that way, and they were all the way over towards Ashnells, which is that way. So it's happened to me before. I hope we're not, though. That's all I can say. I hope we're not. Because it's warm, and we've spent a long time looking for them. In these vast, open, empty spaces, moving from tree to tree where they might have scent marked. Romit, you wanted to know how many kilometers I've clocked in this area. My odometer tells me I was on 360 when I left. It is now on 636.7 kilometers since Friday. So essentially almost 300. By the time we get home, it'll probably be closer to 4. Over the course of 2 days, that's not bad going. That's how far we've gone. We've used almost an entire tank of diesel, I think, close to. I topped up today. Oh, it's certainly an entirely different world out here in terms of the amount of ground that we cover. I was wondering, though, earlier on we chatted to Brent and he said he might go off to a very special place to see some very special characters. I'm not going to tell you which ones they are. I'm going to send you over to him so that he can tell you himself.
Well, we are with some very, very special characters, and there's not many things I love in the African bush more than little lion cubs. And for once, the little lion cubs are under one of my most favorite trees, and it is a beauty of one as well. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? There we go, little lion cubs under a massive sausage tree. Now, moms are off to the right, and they're quite focused because there's a whole bunch of buffalo bulls close by. But there we go, there are 2 of the mothers. The third is the one we started off with. But if we just look beyond, just beyond them, in the little ravine system, there's a whole bunch of buffalo bulls. Now, they're looking quite relaxed and unperturbed, the fact that there are multiple lions all around, and there's a very good reason for that. And that is because one of them has expired. Now, of course, I have not expired. I've been out all day. The only thing I've managed to catch is quite a sunburn. My name is Brent Smith. I have the incredible Batman on camera, and Batman is going to show you what happened just over there. So, as I said, one of the buffalo have expired. That's why they're not too perturbed by the lions. And there's one of the Black Rock boys, and it looks to be the prettier of the 2. We'll go have a look, because of course one of those male lions is one of the most battle-scarred individuals I have ever seen, missing one eye and completely scarred on his left side of his face, and he even has a droopy face. So that's, I think, the better looking of the 2 Black Rock boys, and he's trying to find some shade where there is no shade to be had. Now, the light is quite harsh from where we were looking at the cubs, so what I'm going to do is drive just around them, and I'm going to warn you. Be prepared for a cuteness overload. And as I said, I love sausage trees and I love lion cubs, and now I'm lucky enough to have both. And of course, the lion cubs are playing in of I'm so excited to show this to you. Hello, little troubles. Sorry about the little black screen. I just went through a little lip. Look at this. There are just so many cubs. There are 9 cubs in total, all around the same age. So probably just around 2 months old. And the nice thing is when all the moms are fat and heavy, the little ones are up to all sorts of nonsense. Now, I'm going to keep quiet for a second so you can hear some of the noises these incredible cubs are making. Okay, quickly off to the left. Look at this. There's a pile of cubs on Mom. Oh, this one who's got a sausage. So the cubs have gone a little bit quiet. I'm going to speak quite quietly. Oh, Craig, I know I'm making you jump around. Those 2 cubs in the distance are stalking Angama lizards. Look at this, look at this, look at this. Yes, Christine is wondering, are all 9 cubs accounted for? Yes, they are. Look at this little one. He's trying to catch the lizards. Oh, the lizard's just out way too fast for him. But that's the joy of cubs. They have so much energy. Well, I've got a full belly. I failed in catching the lizard, but I am going to sit on the top of the rock like I am the biggest male around. Okay, listen. The females are talking. Now, the reason the females are talking is one of the buffalo bulls is coming close, and buffalo bulls will stamp a little lion cub to death. And of course, there he is. He started coming towards where we are, and he's a mean-looking old guy. So the females are a little bit worried about the safety of the cubs, so they've started calling to them and getting them to move a little bit further away. All those lionesses are looking at where that buffalo bull is. Now, he literally took 3 or 4 steps. He was on the other side, and the females had no worry about him. But the moment he came down and towards... Listen, I'm going to keep quiet. Oh, look at the little ones. They're looking at a vulture that just took off out of the tree. You can hear the females calling. You can see they're really fat-bellied, the females. There's still quite a lot of meat left on the buffalo. Oh, we've got a little adventurer on the sausage tree. That is the closest cub to the buffalo. It's still about 40 or 50 meters. No, not even that. 30 meters. Now, that little cub is looking directly at the buffalo. I think if it wandered any closer, Mom might get a little bit perturbed. But for the moment, she's just keeping a careful eye. That has to be a little boy against the sausage tree. Oh, there we go. Some tackling. Now, all these games that the cubs are playing at this age are really important because it's all practice for when they're bigger, when they have to fight with other lions or they have to catch their own food. Oh, there we go. This comes on perfectly to Umka's question. Are sausages good food for lions? Not at all. The cubs are just playing. They won't get any nutrients out of it. It's just a convenient chew toy at the moment. Oh, that one's got a little crunchy leaf. a dried leaf of the sausage tree that's making lots of noise when it bites it, which I think is giving it much joy. Oh, off we go. Next sausage tree. Fruit to the right a little bit. We have attacked the next sausage. Oh, and now everyone else wants the sausage. These black rock cubs are really, really special. So the first time I saw them, they were almost, or probably half the size that they are now. And definitely not so limber. Oh, there we go. Tail. I've got your tail. If watching little lion cubs play doesn't bring a smile to your face, there's something completely wrong with you. You have your brain wired wrong. Now, I must say, the little lion cubs are making me feel a little bit mushy. Now, how are they making you feel? Use the hashtag SafariLive to let me know how does seeing the gorgeous 9 Black Rock Pride lion cubs, how does it make you feel? It makes me feel mushy, and I'm man enough to admit it. So hashtag for SafariLive, how does it make you feel to witness these incredible little cubs? So you're going to have a moment to figure out how exactly these cubs make you feel, because there is possibly an animal when it's a baby, I don't agree, that has slight competition with lion cubs, and that is, of course, baby elephants, but I'm not sure whether Taylor's got big ones or small ones. Let's go find out.
A variety of all the kind, big, small, medium-sized elephants, big trees, long grass. There's definitely quite a bit out today. I think all the animals are also enjoying the pleasant weather, not having to run to the hills when there's a torrential downpour, because they're quite spectacular out here. But it's a beautiful family of elephants. There is a cow feeding with her youngster just on the termite mound, which is a good spot, I suppose, because there's nice green grass around there, and there's a couple of other smaller ones. It almost looks like someone has just copied and pasted, because they seem to all be in pairs. A rather large one paired with a little one. And I think they've already had a mud bath too, because that young elephant looks very dark in comparison to the adults, so they must have gone swimming somewhere or played. Maybe they played around in the Mara River earlier today. There's so many of these luggers that are filled with water now too, which will provide beautiful swimming areas for the elephants. And I think how green the grass is there. It's looking beautiful and lush, the bush at the moment. So if there was any doubt if any of the animals were suffering from the few short weeks of yellow grass that was around it, they don't have to worry about that at all. It's all back. It looks like a young bull just feeding on the outskirts of the herd, and I think there's another bull approaching him. It looks like a bull to the left. Let's see, which would make sense. They'd probably stick together and play with one another. Now, Roshni, you're wondering why we don't see oxpeckers on elephants. Well, I suppose elephants do have hair on them. They've got bristles. I mean, rhinos aren't particularly hairy. There's not many areas, though, where you sort of see ticks gathering. You see the odd tick on their chest and sometimes around their tails, but maybe it's just not the preferred food. Obviously, we've got 2 different types of oxpeckers. We've got the red-billed and the yellow-billed oxpecker. You get both in this area. I've been seeing more of the yellow-billed oxpecker, which is strange because we see the complete opposite in South Africa. We see more of the red-billed. And they both feed on different things. So an elephant would be, suited to a yellow-billed oxpecker, which prefers the larger, more engorged sort of ticks, whereas the red-billed oxpecker will go for the finer ticks, the small ticks like pepper ticks and the tick larvae. They tend to feed on those, and they do a scissoring motion through the coat of hair of the animals. So I don't know, maybe it's just they don't have the nicest ticks on them. Perhaps the only ticks I've actually seen on elephants are those bont ticks, those really, really nasty ones, the hardback ticks. They're quite colourful, and they can get straight through their thick skin. But you get other types of birds that hang around elephants, and you get cattle egrets. It's one of my favourite things, sitting on their backs. Often you see that in Botswana. You definitely see it in Zambia, all those sort of marshy areas where they'll occur. And then I've seen starlings sitting, we've seen them, and lilac-breasted rollers sitting on the various mammal species. I couldn't see why they wouldn't hitch a ride an elephant as they move through an open area, because they're also chasing up insects of sorts, and that's what they're going after. But it's such a gentle breeze. It's so pleasant. I think we're going to have the most amazing sunset tonight. I'm actually really excited for it. So I'm going to try and plan carefully and make sure that the sunset is a highlight for this evening. We might decide whether we're going to use trees. Maybe we get lucky. Maybe we get some silhouetted animals. Elephants would be great up against the skyline, wouldn't it? Now, Kaylin, you're wondering how big is the largest, or is the... How large is the average elephant herd in the Mara? Sorry, that's what you were trying to ask me. It depends. This is a relatively big herd. There must be, well, not really. They're just so spread out. Although, actually, it extends quite far away. I'm just sort of looking and scanning further and further to the left, and I'm seeing more and more elephants popping up. So maybe there's about 40 of them around here. There's also a spot we can't see just below this tree, and there were quite a few feeding along the base of the hill. So there's some more, and it stretches right down far away. So I would say about 30 or 40 elephants is about the average size a herd. I mean, most of the time I've actually been seeing smaller groups. Mom and her offspring, so 3 or 4 of her offspring following her around, whether they're just left behind and, they're part of a bigger group. But also with there being so much food around at the moment, they can just feed wherever they like, really. They're not all missioning to a specific area to where there has just been, rain and the grass is sprouting up and it's lovely and lush. There's lovely lush grass all around them at the moment. So the herds will probably be breaking up into smaller groups again. But you can see exceptional sizes of herds of elephants out here, 100, 150. We see that in the Sabi Sand in South Africa too. In the dry seasons, they all come together and start traveling around. But this is lovely. But we're going to keep moving on. I got word that the Sausage Tree Pride Lions are not too far away from here. We just need to try and find them. And Ralph is, of course, sitting in South Africa. Hopefully he's enjoying himself this afternoon. We had some giraffe earlier, and that seems to be the animal that he's managed to find.
Why you don't get oxpeckers on elephants. Now, this is an animal that you do get oxpeckers on, and I don't know if VM can get in nice and closely there and actually show you some of them, but these birds in particular are red-billed oxpeckers, and they will be jumping around these giraffes looking for parasites, mostly fleas and, more importantly, ticks, which you will find a lot on all the animals, and it's natural that we find animals full of ticks, but the oxpeckers do help in limiting the numbers of ticks on the animals themselves. So we've got a very mutualistic, symbiotic relationship there. Both of them are benefiting from this little relationship. However, sometimes this relationship can turn parasitic, because these red-billed oxpeckers will, sometimes they'll pick off those ticks and it will make a little bit of a sore, and then they will actually keep that sore open and drink the blood from the giraffe. So in effect, the red-billed oxpeckers are sanguinivores. There's a nice term for you. Sanguinivores, because they do eat the ticks, which are full of blood, but they like that blood so much that they will sometimes keep that sore open and continue to feed on them. Now, here we've got a few giraffe. It looks like they're all a bunch of males moving around in a loose association. They did start a little bit earlier in a small amount of necking, and the reason we can tell that these are males nice and easy, there's very little hair on top of those ossicones, or ossicles as we call them, bony extensions of the skull, and as they get older they lose the hair on the top of those ossicones as a result of their fighting behavior, which they use their head like a club, and they obviously try to establish dominance between each other by smacking each other with this club and the bony extensions of the skull. Now, that's a nice picture of the back of the ears of a giraffe. That, in essence, is a follow-me signal that they will use, pretty much like what the lions would do, but they have black on the back of the ears. The giraffe, you can see from a very far distance, just from that nice flashy white on the back of the ears. And there you can see those oxpeckers coming around, also trying to establish a little bit of a dominance between each other. So we've got dominance happening all around. Oxpeckers, being cooperative breeders, they move in family units with an alpha pair that will be helped by helpers, in essence, that help them to build their nest, help them to bring food for the young, etc. So in such a way, they are very good in reproducing and continuing by staying with a bigger group. I got a question there. What is the plant that the giraffe are feeding on? Well, the giraffe would generally like to be feeding on acacia plants, which has now been turned, the name has changed to Vachilia, but they really not like the knobthorn plants, and they've got very big leaves for acacia, or leaflets, as they might be. But it's quite interesting. There's a little relationship between the acacia plants and the giraffe, because the giraffe, they feed a lot on these acacia plants, and as a defense, the acacia puts out thorns, or the Vachilia, as the new name is. They put out thorns, but the giraffe then comes with a defensive tactic towards that, and he's got a very thick-skinned tongue, and thick skin around the lips, which he then goes around the thorns, and even if they do, they don't even spike him because of the skin being so thick. So what he does is the plants then start to pump tannins into the leaves, which makes those leaves sour or bitter once the giraffe starts to put pressure on it. And in this way, the giraffe, in a few minutes or so, stops to feed on them. I've got a question here on how big giraffe actually get. Now, that is a very good question, because they do get very tall, but I do believe it's in the region of about 4 meters, and I think it's about 4 to 5 meters that a giraffe will get. Now, that is very, very tall. If you think that some of the tallest rugby players are only just over 2 meters, double that, and we're looking at the sort of female's height, and the males could even be taller than that. And what is quite impressive is that when the babies are born, they literally fall a height of about 6 feet. Now, when human babies are born, we need to give them a little tap on their back to give them their first breath of life. And naturally, with the giraffe, they have that little thud down to earth, and a bit of a natural tap on the back to take that first breath. So definitely not small animals, not one of the big 5, but definitely big animals in their own right. Right, I think we're going to continue on a little bit. These giraffe have moved off. Let's see what else we can go and find. So, like I was saying, with the phenomenon of these animals feeding on these acacias, as they move through the bush, these acacias, as they feed on them, they start to pump the tannins into the leaves, making them bitter. But now they go one step further than that, and it's a phenomenon called jasminating, where the first plant that the giraffes start to feed on exhibit this tannins. It actually gets pheromonal into the air, and the plants downwind of these acacias will literally start to pump tannins into their leaves as well, circumventing the giraffe getting to them. They will then sorry, I didn't get that. Sorry guys, I'm just going to check on what is happening on the radio. Right, so what I was just finishing up on is that then what the giraffe do from there then is they feed into the wind. Right folks, I'm just cutting over to Brent. He's got something to show you.
Well, hello, Rolf. I didn't even know Rolf was on drive, but I hope Rolf was keeping you well entertained. Now, there's not something quite as entertaining as these little lion cubs. Look at them. They're fighting over a piece of sausage tree fruit. Hello, little ones. Oh, they are too sweet. What a tackle. Now, as all of you know, we're doing action broadcasts, and most of them have been focused on hunting. But I think this is action that is as good as animals hunting. So we're going to invite all our people on Facebook and Twitter and whatnot to join us to enjoy the Black Rock cubs. Hello, and welcome live to the Maasai Mara, and I hope you are prepared for the most incredible, beautiful overdose of cuteness. And there's not anything in this world, in my personal opinion, that can compete. Oh, we didn't go live. So all our long-suffering viewers, stick with us. Oh, we're not going to be able to get anyone to join us on all the other platforms, but we can be a little bit selfish now. So all of you who are Safari Live fans, you get to enjoy these all to yourself. And they are absolutely gorgeous. The beautiful Black Rock babies. Oh, roll. Upset with each other. Now, it is incredibly warm in the Mara today, and I find it hilarious that all these cubs start off playing in leads them to carry on, and then they always end up back in the shade. So apologies, apparently we're having a little bit of gremlin issues, I'm not sure why. It is live, and if I had an opportunity to get hold of that gremlin, I would beat it over the head for trying to deprive you of any second from these gorgeous little cubs. Well, there's one who's decided he is thirsty, or she is thirsty, I can't really see. Well, there are three already attached. Oh, grumpy with each other. There's enough, guys, you can share. Oh, tea time's over. Time to go cause havoc with my siblings or sisters or cousins. Or let's just go give Mom a love. Oh, sweetness. Mom, but I love you, Mom. Baby, I am very tired. I have two of your brothers and sisters attached to my teats. I really don't need any more attention for this very moment. So let's go walk down the single line of the sausage tree that's providing shade and go tackle. Oh, sorry, I just heard something there. There is a cub, oh no, that has decided that forget brothers and sisters. Sausage tree fruit are far more entertaining. Now, Cindy is wondering if lions are ever born with extra toes like domestic cats can be. Cindy, very, very seldom. It is very unlikely that they would ever be born with extra toes. Now, the reason for this is domestic cats get that because they are generally inbred and have been bred with mothers, brothers, sisters, etc. And that is the reason why they develop that extra toe. In the wild, that very, very seldom happens because of the movement of males and the turnover of males. So it's very, very seldom that a domestic, a lion will grow an extra toe like a domestic cat, because nature is working. With a lot of domestic animals like domestic cats, it happens that humans have become involved in their evolutionary process. So you do get a lot of inbreeding for specific colors, eye color, fur thickness, height, length, etc. So a lot of the specialty breeds of cats are actually inbred up into the point of extinction or developing those extra toes, etc. And that is all done by human beings. So in the wild, generally you don't find things like that as often. Now, it seems everyone's calming down a little bit here, and most of the cubs, well, at least 4 of them, are having a good drink from Mum. Decided that all the lizards that live on the rocks behind are safe for now. Now, oh, wait, let's wait for Mum to give her a hug. Bite Mum's foot, bite Mum's foot. And off they go. Now, while we stay for a little bit longer with the absolutely splendid black rock babies, let's go to Taylor, who I'm sure is very jealous.
Oh, you know me too well. I am very, very jealous, Brent. I'm glad that you're enjoying yourself this afternoon. No, we have not found our lions. I'm confused because we were told to look on our left. That's all I've been doing, is looking left, and I have yet to see any lions. So either they've got up and moved, or we've been sent on a joyride, which is not so bad. So I'm going to take us to an area that I haven't driven for a while and look for a pride of lions. I don't know who it is, but there seems to be 2 young males that are like between 2 and 3.5, somewhere around there. Then there's an older boy that's maybe 4.5, 5 years old, with a couple of females and quite a young female as well. I have no idea what pride it is. Sometimes the lioness with a kinky tail goes to them, sometimes she's not, sometimes she's elsewhere. And I was listening to Brent and Jamie try and battle it out and decipher who exactly we've got. It was quite entertaining, actually. We didn't come to a conclusion though, so maybe we can find them. I remember seeing them when I first arrived in the Mara, and we saw them quite a bit, which was nice. I enjoyed spending time with them. We just had, of course, unfortunate circumstances with all the rain that we had, and we didn't have the quick and smooth, easy cover rain covers, so it was a bit difficult. But we'll look for them. Have you all seen my latest accessory? Isn't that cool? This was given to me by Eurobon. I suppose he's a general assistant. He does a bit of everything around camp, and he got this for me. And you should have seen, I was so excited. My arm was grabbed and then raced off towards the sinks, and dishwashing liquid was applied very generously all over my hand, and then it was then pushed on. I did almost have a mild heart attack last night because I get a little bit claustrophobic, and I can't get it off. It's never coming off either. The only way it's coming off is if by force with dishwashing liquid or with scissors and pliers. But hopefully I'll just get used to it. Try and overcome my fears of a bangle being too thick, and it's not tight, but it's just unusual. It's like a very big watch. Right. You know what amazes me about Kenya is that you have so much variety in one spot. Elephants, eland, impala, all the different types of birds feeding in the grass. And then you can go for sections of 1 mile, 2 miles where you do not see a thing other than grass and plants. Not a bird, not even an insect have I been able to find in the last little while that we've been driving. So hopefully our luck will change. But ideally we're going to sort of head a little bit in that direction in a bit. I'm just waiting for a road that's coming up. Ngioriare, that one, which Jamie and I struggled to say quite a bit. Maybe one day we'll be able to pronounce it properly. Alright, we're just going to pass these guests. I'm going to wave to them and say hello. We're going to have to go past. Hello, how's it? Sorry. Now, Jennifer, you're wondering, I feel so terrible. They wanted to chat. Can't stop and chat, unfortunately. We've got a place to get to. So, sorry, Jennifer, your question was, what is my favorite animal? My favorite animal is this kind. Elephants. Elephants in general. We're not sure if Maurice is a Asian elephant or an African elephant. I think he's somewhere in between. So yes, I love them. I sit with them for ages. Normally, I find Djuma, or just South Africa, have the best sightings of the elephants. We spoke about this the other day. The intimate sort of reaction that you get around the cars. It's a lot more of a personalized experience, whereas here, and there's some elephants in the distance which we'll try and head around to. We'll drive, hopefully they're closer to the road, but I'll stop up a bit further ahead. There's another big group of them. And they just sort of seem to ignore you and walk past as if you're a rock, which is nice in a way, I suppose. Obviously, it's really good that they just go about their lives without really worrying about us. But I miss having the little ones curious around the cars, smelling and, you know, getting all excited. So I definitely do miss that. I haven't had elephants doing that. Yeah, it actually seems like our elephants are a lot further off the road than I anticipated, and there's quite a few shrubs. So we'll carry on with our mission to get lions. Let's hop on board Jamie's car though. I know she had her heart set on cheetah, but she's found something that a cheetah would like to eat.
Absolutely. Although I do feel for this poor female Topi, because she is a strong candidate to become cheetah food. She does have a little bit of a limp, which of course is going to set her back. She's also heavily pregnant. You can see the bulge of her belly there. I'm not quite sure. It's not a bad limp, but it's definitely not a comfortable walk. So I'm not entirely sure exactly where the injury is, but if I had to guess, I would say somewhere around the femur and the hip, by the looks of things. I did find lions, by the way, but unfortunately they were beyond the point of our signal range, and they were very much asleep and not planning on going anywhere. So we did find lions, excuse me, 2 big males, but unfortunately no luck with signal right down underneath a sausage tree in the depths of a drainage line. They are odd looking antelope, they really are. They've definitely got goat eyes. They truly are a bit peculiar. Exceptionally fast, and of course have the best stamina of most of the antelope out here. So they are the marathon runners of the wilderness alongside the wildebeest. Excuse me, I got the sneezes all of a sudden. Ah, there comes the gentleman to ask me if I found the cheetah again. We've been circling each other for a considerable period of time. I best tell him about the lions, though. That I can do. Provided he comes in this direction. Paula, I'll say, she looks very pregnant. In fact, I would say that birth is pretty imminent. I seem to be finding lots of pregnant animals at the moment. Jambo!
Any luck?
No luck with the cheetahs.
No luck?
No luck with the cheetahs.
There's some down there.
There's some
Yes.
cars down there, or?
Yeah, 2 cheetahs walking.
Oh, fantastic. There's also a line by the sausage tree just along the slugger.
Sausage?
You know the big sausage tree? If you go along the slugger, but there's a big sausage tree. They're just down there.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Bye, guys. 2 cheetahs down there. Down where? I'm going to follow him. He might know. I think he came to call me specially, which is actually quite cool. So we'll try and follow him. Or can we? Shall we do this? This could go horribly wrong. It's gone horribly wrong in the past before. James, of course, wound up following some people to a bathroom stop, I believe. He knows where he's going better than I do. Faith, he's going to lead us into a no-signal zone shortly. But let's go and find it. Must be the... I think of them as the Hammerkop boys. Sorry, Faith, what was that? I'm really very sorry, my comms are breaking up. I think Faith is asking for a link. Yes, she is. She's asking me to send you across to Brent, who has lion cubs.
Oh, the black rock babies. They are absolutely delicious. Aren't they? They are exquisite. Now, everything's... Oh, apart from those two, everyone else is calming down, having a little bit of a nap. Now, of course, the black rock boys, who are more than likely the fathers of these two, are quite impressive looking males. One sports a beautiful black mane. The other is probably the most battle-hardened warrior in the Mara, well, at least in his looks. So as the cubs and their moms decide it's time to have a snooze, now I have to go through a little area that is a little bit lower, so I do apologize. We might have a tiny bit of breakup, but I should be through it in less than a second. And that's because I want to show you the battle-hardened, scarred warrior of the Black Rock Pride. So we're just going to go through this little dip. Now, there are two males in the Black Rock Pride. One is beautiful and with a big black mane. Oh, hold on, there we go. And we're going to see, I've seen both the males. Now there's the pretty boy of the Black Rock Pride, being very, very lazy at the moment in the shade. So that is the pretty boy of the Black Rock Pride. Now let's see if we can go see the battle-scarred warrior. Now, for me, male lions are always, of course, incredibly beautiful. But for him, I don't know, there's something special about him. The fact that he's missing an eye, he's just got so many scars and wounds on his face. He just is a little bit more special than your average pretty black-maned male. So Faith, I'm getting your comms intermittently. Just give me 2 seconds and I should get them back perfectly. So the second male, he doesn't have an impressive mane. He's actually got a relatively small mane. And Phil was telling me, what was his name, Phil? Shongo is his name. So there we go. We've got a name for the battle-scarred bruiser of the Black Rock Pride, and it is Shongo. Hello, Shongo, my boy. You are quite smelly. Yes, you are. When he looks at you, it's slightly different. You can see he's only got his one eye. His other eye is completely gone. And he doesn't have a big dark mane that is traditional to the big boys of the Mara. But that one eye, when it looks at you, he is a lot more threatening than some of the big pretty boys that roll around the Mara. So the rangers call him Shongo. Hello, Shongo. Oh, Shongo has now noticed that there is a cheeky vulture near his buffalo. Now, I'm hoping he turns his head towards us shortly. Ridgely is wondering whether the Black Rock boys are near the end of their reign. I wouldn't say so. So even though old Shongo has seen, or looks like he's seen better days with the amount of scars and wounds he carries upon his face, I would guess him at about 8 or 9 years old. So he's definitely still got a couple of good years left in him. well, he's not looking towards us. So let us move further forward so we can see that incredible face. And it is an incredible face. I've photographed a lot of male lions in the Mara. And out of all the male lions I've photographed, including the one everyone loves, Mr. Scarface, I think Mr. Shongo is my... So he's not your traditional impressive big black maned male, but that face is just too much for me. It is a proper battle scorn. I mean, the stories that face could tell. Hey, big boy. Now, as I said, he's got a very small mane and it's very blonde, but physically he's a very big male lion. And of course, if you look at that, you can see he's been in many wars. If we zoom into the right side of his face, or my left, there we go. Look at that. You can see his one eye is completely gone, and you can see the amount of scars on him. Now, the reason I said he's 7 or 8 years old, if I start looking at his teeth, his canines, you can see they're still in perfect order. And I would hate to have been the lion that gave him that scar because he survived. Michael's wondering, how did Shongo sustain his injuries? Michael, it would have been fighting with other male lions, probably to claim this very territory, because this is an excellent territory with lots of lovely ladies and lots of wildebeest, and when the wildebeest are gone, lots of other prey. So he would almost certainly have got that scar fighting with another male. As I said, I hate to see what the other male looks like. If he looked like that afterwards and still won, the other male must have been, I'm almost certain, dead, like the buffalo that's right next to us. So that's why the pride and the males are so fat and happy. There we go. There is a buffalo carcass right next to us. Now, as fun as it's been with Shongo and his Black Rock pride, I still can't help saying this. I know I'm probably getting in trouble from a lot of people, but he is my favorite male that I've seen in the Mara so far. And I was very excited to find out he had a name. Hey, Shongo. Not that he's so battle scarred and so tough, he doesn't care what I call him. Shongo, psh, whatever you want. He's very full of buffalo at the moment. But we're going to leave the battle-scarred Shongo and his progeny with their mothers and his lazy, prettier, better-looking other male. And we've heard that there might be some cheetah not too far away. And also, I've got a bit of an imp on my shoulder this evening. I think we should go to an area we've never been before. So I'm going to move off to that area, and Taylor's going to show you an incredible Mara vista.
Interesting as to the fact that you can see how green it is in that spot, and then literally a couple of meters, the green to the left, the green starts to fade. It starts to sort of turn to yellow. And one thing that I have spoken about quite a bit is my amazement to the localized sort of rains. You will not believe how specific they are. And that looks like what's happened here. I wonder if it's a combination of maybe different types of soils, and then also the fact that it was just raining in that particular area a little bit more than it had the other spot. But it is incredible. And you see these patches all over the Mara. And it always amazes me. And that's what the animals are looking for. So they're looking for those green pastures. They're traveling through the yellower areas, heading to where the ground is now turned nice and lush. And you know, it's a couple of days later, maybe there'll be rain in those spots that hadn't had rain for some time, and then eventually they'll green up. So it's pretty interesting how it all works, and it's almost as if to prevent overgrazing, isn't it? Because you don't want the animals feeding in one spot. For those of you that have horses or live on farms and have animals that graze, you know how important it is to rotate your paddocks or your fields, wherever you may graze them. Otherwise, you'll wreck an entire area and overgraze it, and it's very hard to come back from overgrazing. It does take a bit of work. So here, having these localized rains, I would assume that plays a big role in preventing that, constantly letting the animals move around and not getting stuck in the same spot. So I found that particularly interesting, and it was a nice little spot where we could see it. But we've even arrived at a little sort of quarry. It looks like it. Can you see them? Maybe I'm looking for lions in here. Richard is our scouring. He said, "Can you see the lions? Are they laying in front of the car?" Where are they, Richard? Are they far? Were they to the left or the right of the elephants? Oh, I think, Ferg, yeah, go in. I thought I saw something walking in the distance. Richard thinks he's just spotted some lions. I can see some zebra walking in the distance, but I did see something that caught my eye. Now I can't find it anymore. But it's sort of over in the direction of the elephant, so we'll probably head around there and investigate. There's a yellow-throated longclaw, though. Same colour as the lion, almost. Yeah, I can't see anything. Now, Vlad, you're wondering about the air quality in Kenya and just in Africa in general. It's a hard one. I wouldn't know what you would even measure the air quality by, so sorry for that. It's pretty good. Smells great. Does the job, you know, keeps oxygen pumped through my veins. Is that the lion? Yes, there we go. There's the lion walking through the elephants. Well done, Richard. The scaries out here, they're amazing. Now I'm just trying to figure out where's the camera pointed. Oh, okay, I see it again. Perfect. So we should be heading in that direction. It's relatively good. I mean, obviously, when you head into the cities, like you head to South Africa, you notice all the smog as you come through, and I sneeze a lot in the cities from the various things. So that's not too great. I find that any time I sneeze out here in the bushes when it's very dry and there's a lot of dust that's been accumulated, or there are flowers trees and plants that have started flowering, then that normally gets my nose all tingly. But otherwise it's fairly good. I can only talk about I've lived in Zambia, lived in South Africa, and now being up here in Kenya, and it seems fine. I don't notice a difference. I definitely noticed a difference between the air quality in the States, particularly in Florida, in Fort Lauderdale. And it was so sweet. There was such a sweet smell to the air, which was bizarre. And I longed for the freshness that Africa has. And out here at the moment, it doesn't smell like much. A couple of the guys have said it smells like the ocean without the saltiness. I find that impossible. Like the river. Exactly. Within the tidal rivers, even you get the saltiness. So I don't know. It's a beautiful smell out here. Obviously, with all the rains we had, there's definitely a strong smell. Okay, let's go in that direction. Let's move away from here. Let's go towards that lion. I just need to find a road that goes in that direction. Okay, so we know where we got to go to get a lion. So we're not going to be able to fly there, which is unfortunate. But it seems as though Ralph has got an animal that I wish I was right now.
Crossing in here, we've just looks like we've spotted a juvenile martial eagle. All the birds in the area and the squirrels and the little dwarf mongoose, everybody was alarm calling, and we moved into the area. And then this guy came down, and that was obviously the reason why they were making so much noise and racket. And you can still hear the grey go-away bird. And as we moved in, there was also a scrub hare that dashed for cover, and we thought it might have been for us, but I think this juvenile has come down in an attempt to get the scrub hare. You can still hear the squirrel making the noise as well. We've got hornbills off to the right, and we've got the ever-present crested barbet with his continuous ringing call, kind of like playing a didgeridoo with that circular breathing. This guy's still looking out for what he might be able to pick up, doing a little bit of preening now. Things are slowly starting to come out of their midday slumber. Birds are starting to call a little bit more. They generally don't call in the middle of the day when that heat is making the air a little bit less dense. We've got a question from Henny asking me What is my favorite animal, firstly, and my favorite experience in the bush? Well, I've got a few favorite animals, but I must say, in terms of birds, I would have to say the fork-tailed drongo. I'm one of those guys that likes the underdog. You see how he's ruffling his feathers there. He was obviously cleaning his wings. Getting back to that question, I like the underdog and the guy that's not scared of punching above his weight. So definitely the fork-tailed drongo, and if there was one around now, he would definitely be bombing this guy, trying to get rid of him. Favorite experience in the bush? Wow, there's so many, hey? I would have to say most of them being on foot. One of them was when I was walking on the Luvuvu Bridge up in northern part of Kruger, and we watched a herd of buffalo exhibiting allelomimetic behavior, where, quite similar to in the Mara, where one animal jumps in the river, they all jump, and they started to swim across. They got to the other side, they all climbed out, they started to graze a little bit, and for no reason whatsoever, one jumped back in the river, and so they jumped in and they swam across the river again. Once they got to the other side, another one jumped back in. But in the meantime, there'd been a whole bunch of crocodiles that had noticed this movement of the buffalo backwards and forwards through the river, and they started to beeline upstream towards this herd, and this all watching from the bridge. And on the time when started to move forward and actually took out one of the younger buffalo. He just literally disappeared underwater, and we watched this whole thing unfold. Wow, he's going down. What's he going for? Is it that great go-away bird? He's had a go at something. Let me just take the vehicle back a bit and see if we can get a better view. Roshni, I hear you asking that how long does it take for an eagle to develop? That is a very good question, and I do believe it takes about 2 to 3 seasons to be fully developed as an adult. So this juvenile, I would imagine, being in about his second season from chick. Season when I mean going through the second summer, and he's already obviously starting to try and hunt on his own. So mom and dad have already left him. He's past being a fledgling. He's not being fed by them. He's obviously been able to survive on his own reasonably well, otherwise he wouldn't be here in front of us, and he's obviously quite hungry at the moment. So we would hope that he could get something to eat, but we also don't want to be the unlucky customer that's going to be food. But that's the way life works, eh? And the squirrel's still alarm calling. Those are all the kinds of noises that we would be listening to. You hear that great go-away bird still alarm calling. And especially when we're on foot in the bush, these are all the noises that we listen to. Debbie, you're asking what is the largest prey that a martial eagle would take? Well, they will take anything. You know, most of these birds of prey are opportunists, so they would take anything from a small lizard right up until even a small antelope, such as a baby steenbok. Martial eagle, not the best carriers of big meat, such as an antelope, like a crowned eagle would be, but they would still have a go at some small antelope, but generally they would, especially a juvenile like this, he would be going for smaller stuff, even little birds, and things like that. But they would, once as they get better at the hunting and as they get a little bit older, they will start to take bigger prey. But scrub hares and things like that would be high up on the menu. Even these little dwarf mongoose, which are also alarm calling at the moment, they will also be taken as prey. But the trouble with trying to catch them, there's lots of them, and they often also move around with the hornbills. So the hornbills then act as the alarm for the dwarf mongoose, and the mongoose help to brush out some of the insects as food. Is that a fork-tailed drongo that's just moved in there? There's my favorite bird. I'm sure he's going to have a go at this eagle. King Quad, I hear you want to know, how do they bring the prey back with their claws? What they would be doing there, they would obviously come down onto a prey, and with those talons they will literally most of the time break the back or the neck of the prey, and actually subdue it on the ground, and very often they would actually feed their fill, especially as a smaller or juvenile bird like this. They would try and keep that prey under cover where other birds of prey from the sky wouldn't be able to spot them, and they might just feed on it right there, feed their fill their gullet, and then fly up to a place where they can relax and digest, and then they might even fly down again and have a second, third, even fourth fill. So it's not always necessary that they need to fly off with prey, and birds such as martial eagles, they can very often do that, actually just shift it under cover and then eat it there, flying up and going back down. But there are things like the bateleurs, which have excellent eyesight and very quickly spot another bird of prey on a kill, and they will obviously then come down, and that can attract everybody else, from vultures to bigger eagles and adults, etc. He's still very interested in something on the ground there. Something that obviously is in that thick brush. So folks, we're going to continue watching this youngster. He probably quite... Oh, there he goes. I don't know if he got anything. It didn't look like it. Oh, he's after this little baby scrubby. And the scrubby is now underneath the car. He must have been in there. The scrubby is now hiding under the vehicle, unless he's run out the other side. But I do believe he's under the vehicle. Shame we spoilt it for him. He would have had him. That's what he was after, the little baby scrubby. There must have been a few of them there, because we saw one run off a bit further than that. Maybe a little bit of a nest with some babies in it. Here he comes again. So he's gone and sat up there, a bit better of a viewpoint. I'm not sure if the scrubby is still hiding under the vehicle. But what we're going to do is we're going to sit here and we're going to see what happens, and hopefully... Alright, while we're watching here, we're going to cross back to Jamie in the Mara, and we'll keep you updated, we'll keep you posted on what happens here.
Oh, that sounds like an incredible sighting with that martial eagle. I wish I could tell you that we're having an equally incredible afternoon, but the cheetah that we were following the gentleman to appear to have vanished, and we can't actually see where we're meant to be going. So we've zoomed around, we went through a crossing that he couldn't go through, and now there's no sign of any cheetah, and I think I'm going to go down this road now. Oh goodness, just one of those days. I don't think they've got... no, there'd be more cars there. Ever since the lions, we've had flies zooming around us. We were absolutely fine until then. And now they've decided to jump ship. They decided we're much tastier than the lions are. And they've joined us in the vehicle, and I can't get rid of them no matter how fast I drive. Somehow they stay with us. Okay, oh well. Let us see what we can find as we head towards Talek. I'm sorry, Faith, I can't hear you at all there. Okay, I got the gist of the question, I think, but I'm afraid I have absolutely no idea who it's from. My comms are breaking up quite badly. But we have a question about whether there are termite mounds in this part of Africa, and absolutely there are. There absolutely are. There's a whole load of them out across to the right of me. They're just much, much smaller than the ones that we see in South Africa. So all of those little mounds are termitariums or termite mounds. The biggest you really see is not much taller than me, whereas in certain parts, oh, these flies, in certain parts of Djuma, and even on Cheetah Plains in particular, there are termite mounds that are easily 2 stories high. Now, it's just a difference in the style of building. Now, when hyenas in this area have their den sites, because the termite mounds are not constructed in the same way, they're basically just flat or almost flat termite mounds that the hyenas have dug underneath, or at least they've excavated aardvark holes and warthog holes that the hyenas have dug into. Shoe flies. Where's this cute little bear it is? We are on a main road, so I'm hoping nobody's coming behind me, but this is... no, there is somebody. No, there isn't. There's a sweet little Tommy dashing about. There it goes over there, running behind Mum. Ah, cheetah, cheetah. Where did you vanish to? I'm sorry, Faith, I couldn't hear you there. Oh, I think I got it. Don't forget to send through your questions on hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. Look at its little tail going. They remind me so much of sheep with those tails. Come here, flies. I'm going to get one of you at least. No, I'm not. That is why I needed Thompson's gazelle in the car with us. That'll help to... what is that? Oh, it's another little Tommy. It's right into the sun, I'm afraid. Sorry. Oh, I'll show you now, Jahawi. Sorry. Roshni, yes, your favorite animal, my favorite animal changes. No, actually, my favorite animal has always been pretty much the same. Okay, it's dashed off that way. My favorite animal has stayed the rhino for most of my life, but it's always a difficult decision because there's my favorite animal to spend time with, you know, and you always discover new aspects to an animal that makes you appreciate them even more. So yes, I guess in a way your favorite animal does change. Just like, I suppose, your favorite color changes throughout your life. At least I think it does. Mine certainly has. So yes, I think favorite animals do change. Some people feel a very strong connection instantly to a certain species of animal. Doesn't always work like that. It doesn't always happen like that. I would find it very difficult to choose. I always find it very difficult to choose a favorite animal. I know that mine's the rhino, but it's a really difficult. When I think of the time I've spent with wild dogs, with hyenas, with ellies, of course, it's a really difficult one. I'm so confused. I'm going to turn around and head for home, quite dejected. I'm going to continue on in the direction of Tulloch. Let's send you back across to Taylor. Oh, there's some alliteration there. So she can tell you about her favorite animal.
My favorite animal, Jamie. I've already told everybody about my favorite animal today, the elephants. That was earlier. I'm looking for lions now. I don't know where they've gone. You have no idea what a nightmare this has been to try to get to those lions that we saw behind the elephants. I'm trying to find them again. We've had to go so far around to try and cross a lugger, and now I don't know where these cats have gone at all. I finally got across to the other side of the lugger, but they are so good at disappearing in open areas. It's as if they just vanish when you see them. Fergus pointed. Fergus standing up. Fergus can see their heads, obviously. So I'm just going to go in that direction over there. And, oh, there we go. Ha ha! Now one is sat up in the grass, so hiding away in the golden grass, which lion's coloration does very well. Who have we got? Who have we got? I wonder. There's also a black-chested snake eagle that's flying around, but we're going to just try and catch up to the lions who are coming towards us. I say lions. I think I've seen two. Here they come. Hello. Finally. It's taken a while. Oh, it's not. It's a leopard. It's not even... not even a lion. It's a leopard. Oh my goodness. How's that? That is a big leopard. That it looked like a lion from the distance. Although we had a lion earlier on camera, so I wonder where our lions have gone that we've now come across a leopard. Amazing. My fourth leopard in the Mara. No, fifth now. Fifth different, but I don't think I've seen this boy. He looks beautiful though. Coming straight towards her. That was a nice surprise. I love it when lions turn into leopards. It's my absolute favorite. Very, very cool. I've had a lot of luck with these big cats. Ferg, you haven't seen leopard, eh?
No, this is my second one.
Your second one, yes, it's your second one. So he must be on a territorial patrol. We did see him urinate. Oh my goodness, look at that belly. Look how full he is. Woo, and he's rolling around in the grass. Let's see what he does. Lorena, you say, way to go, Taylor. Thank you very much. Well, that was just by chance. I still don't know where the lions are, but we'll worry about them a little bit later. He's got an exceptionally full belly. Maybe he was laying in that grass. Maybe he's agitated the way he is because the lions have passed him, and he just slunk through the grass to try and get away from them. So we maybe have to say thank you to those big cats for chasing a leopard out and towards us. He's not bothered by us, but he is a little bit nervous. He does keep turning and looking across his shoulder back in the easterly direction. He's coming right up to the car. Hello, big boy. He's obviously no stranger to vehicles. I mean, he's walking past us like he's a leopard from the Sabi Sand. And he's had this wide open space to choose his route, and he quite happily walks within a meter of the car. That is unbelievable. You are a beautiful cat, my friend. An older boy. Doesn't look particularly young. He doesn't look too old either. Oh, wow, look at that. We're going to watch him. He's going to walk into the golden light. Wow, my luck for leopards, even in the Mara. Brent, I don't actually know how many leopards has Brent put on screen. I know he's done a Facebook Live once. I don't know if he's got any live during the show. But you can see, look at all those insects, and they're really annoying. All those little midges. There's so many of them around. They're swarming. They're covering the animals. It really is going to be causing a bit of a nuisance to them. So we might see him shaking his head and sort of throwing his toys out of the cot every now and then. That is absolutely spectacular. Nice, but let's follow him. We'll keep going up. I think that's exactly what's happened. I think he's had his kill maybe stolen from those lions that we saw. Maybe he was just at the base of the tree. He's going to lay down at that termite mound. And he was just, I'm not battling this out. 2 lions versus 1 leopard. Nah, it's a recipe for disaster. I've got a full belly already. You have what's left. So we'll go and investigate down that in a little bit. Even though he is so relaxed, it's just important to come in quietly when you do park yourself in a sighting with animals. I suppose that goes just as a general rule. Don't race up to the animal, even though they are used to vehicles. But it's just one of those things just to keep in mind. Very nice. Just having a rest. Yeah, that's quite cool. I'm actually scanning to see if I can see those lines, but I can't. Wow. And just to think, I was getting so annoyed with the fact that I had to go so far away and around for lions. And I love lions, they're my favorite of the big cats. But to have a leopard being pushed towards us instead, I'll take that any day of the week. Isn't he beautiful? Now, those of you who are sitting on your computers, obviously you all are, because you're watching us via the interweb. Just looking at him, I'm trying to figure out who this leopard is. I've never seen him before. We're quite far away. I don't know if maybe this is the area. Actually, I think we're in the area now where Brent had a leopard taking on the warthog, and that's what I was telling you about. Maybe it's the same boy, so maybe you can have a look, pull up some images from that if you did manage to get some screenshots and compare the two. It would be nice. Otherwise, we'll have to have a look on the site. Rita, you were asking how old is this leopard? I have absolutely no idea. His ears have got a bit of damage to them, so he's obviously been in the odd fight here and there. His teeth looked pretty good. I don't think he's a young boy. I would put him maybe between 7 and 9 years old, somewhere around there. So an older male leopard, but not exceptionally, old. I think he's in the prime of his life now. Oh, this is cool. Wouldn't it be nice if he climbed up one of these Balanites trees and we could take beautiful silhouettes at sunset pictures? Maybe that's what we're going to be treated with this evening. Wouldn't that... We'd be too spoiled, I reckon, if that were to happen. But he's heading in that direction. Now, I have one thing that I want to show you very quickly in my hand before we continue tailing this leopard. And don't worry, we will continue to tail this leopard. I'm not going to let him out of my sight. I'm going to try not to. I have found a dung beetle. And I don't know which dung beetle it is. I've been seeing lots of spider dung beetles, which are the small ones with the very, very long legs. And I can tell that it's a dung beetle. It's got very feathered antennae. It's also got a shoveled-like head. And is now creeping up my finger. It's shimmying its way up, sorry, not shimmying, all the way up. I don't know how he got into the car. Obviously flew in. So they have wings, not like the addo flightless dung beetle. But very nice. Ah! How's my luck today? That was perfect. This is going to be a great day. Okay, let's go around. Oh, I love it when stuff like this happens. Nature is just sometimes so fantastic. It really is. So he's just sat down. There he is, just sitting at this termite mine. He's still desperately looking in that direction. Faith, please may I have that question again? Sorry, I didn't get the viewer's name who was asking the question. There we go. So, Chat Noir, you're wondering if a leopard has ever climbed up onto the car, or is it just the cheetah? Ah, good question. I have never had a leopard climb onto my car, and I hope to never experience anything like that. And I haven't heard of the leopards of the Mara climbing up on the vehicles. It seems to just be a few cheetah every now and then. We don't really want to encourage anything like that. It is a bit of a recipe for a disaster, but we won't get too much into that. There's the swarming insects. Now, these are the same midges that swarm over Lake Victoria in hundreds of thousands, if not even millions. Now, you hear us complaining about them all the time. They're an absolute nuisance, and they bite, and it is so sore, and it forms sort of an itchy bite like a mosquito would. It's not very pleasant. And they're obviously drawn to moisture, so they go up your nose and your eyes, and I was telling you a bit about this earlier, and they just don't go away at all. I mean, I often, before I go out on safari, I put a bug spray on my legs, or mosquito repellent, because I don't want to get bitten. and they love to bite me, they love to drink my blood, and it does absolutely nothing. It's like they're immune to it. But that leopard's got a good tactic, though. He just sits and ignores them. Maybe I could learn a thing or two. Well, I feel as though all of us can maybe learn from this leopard. He's obviously, that's why I say he's an experienced boy. He's not tolerating this. And they look like they're biting his ears as well. See how they're sitting on the tips of his ears? So we often see a leopard's ears being quite tattered. And I think Mvula, our old man of the Sabi Sand, a northern Sabi Sand, our old blue-eyed boy, he's a perfect example of a leopard with very tattered ears. Most of that would be because of fighting. But a lot of the times as well, their ears get sort of quite crusty. And it's from the flies biting them. Those of you that have dogs or, again, have horses and live on small holdings or farms, you'll know when the flies sort of congregate and just bite one particular area. It's not very nice at all. Yeah, he's worried. You know, he's not a young fella. I don't think so. Even though he's got a pinkish nose, I don't know, he's quite scarred up and he's very big. So pink nose is not always an indication that they are young. Now, Mr. Engelin, you're wondering if the leopards in the Mara are bigger than those in Djuma? I was actually asked this question the other day, and my answer a few days ago was, I'm not sure, I don't think I've had enough experience. But now seeing another big male leopard, they're about the same, really. I mean, you have your exceptions like the Anderson male, who's a leopard we see in the Sabi Sand again, if we're lucky. He's an exceptionally large leopard. I haven't seen any big boys like that around here. They all seem to be somewhere between quarantine size and Mvula's size, and Tingana, I suppose, to an extent. So I think they're average for leopards. I don't think there's any size difference. We obviously see incredible size differences between the impala rams of the Mara and the impala rams in the Sabi Sand. The same goes with warthogs. I've even noticed that the general size of elephant cows seems to be much larger here too. But he's a lovely boy. He really, really is. I'm looking forward to finding out who he is. And if some of you have already figured it out, remember #SafariLive, let me know. It would be great to learn about this character. I must actually, you know what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to send a pin to one of our groups so that I know the area that he likes to hang around in. Obviously leopards are territorial. So they have their favy gravy spots that they like to hang around in. Right, let me do this, because you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to forget. I want to make sure I get this spot before we get too far away. I don't think he's come from very far from where he is now. He probably would have run a little bit through the grass if he was trying to get away from those lions. Oh, you are such a cool boy. Isn't this exciting that we could potentially sit with a leopard for most of the day? Now, the Night King, you're wondering what is the main prey species for the leopards in the Mara? Oh, a black-bellied bustard just landing up in front of him. He hasn't actually seen it land yet. So a number of different things. The big male leopard's obviously taking down juvenile wildebeest. They're making the most of that. Look at them. That bird's freezing. Not freezing as in temperature, but standing still. Obviously realized that leopard was going to walk in its pathway. Yes, you're very lucky that he's also got a full belly and he doesn't seem too interested in you. Maybe it's not the black. Maybe it's not the. Is it the buff crested? I can't see from here. I'm too focused on the leopard, to be honest. Let's carry on. Let me get up a bit further because I'm worried that I put too much ground. He puts too much ground between us, and then we'll lose him. We know how we lose these lions in open areas. I don't think a leopard's going to be any different. So they feed on a variety of different things. Sorry, the Night King getting distracted. From warthogs to various antelope and gazelle species. They'll really take whatever they can get, but when the migration's around and the animals are sort of frantic and panicking like they will, he's definitely big enough to take on a wildebeest. No problem, or a young zebra foal even. He'll eat a variety. I wonder if he didn't maybe catch a warthog. Right, so we're going to sit here with this leopard, of course. We're not going to go anywhere. We're going to stick with him. Let's go back across to sunny South Africa, although the sun should be going down now, with Rolf, and I think he's still got an eagle.
Martial eagle, which was unsuccessful hunting that little baby scrub hare, who used us as cover as he ran under the vehicle. And if we weren't there, I'm pretty sure that eagle would have actually had his dinner. So shame, poor eagle, but good on the scrub hare. And from there we went and we spotted a Wahlberg's eagle on a nest with a little baby in it, but the view wasn't great from the drainage line that we were in, where we were looking for also leopard to try and compete with Taylor. But now we're just going to move on a little bit and go and maybe see if we can find those hyenas at the den. So that's where we're headed at the moment, because we drove along and we didn't see anything there. So our next move is off towards the hyena den. Cooler now. It's sun's down towards the horizon, cooling off. All the birds are starting to wake up, and I do believe that we will start to see some more action predator-wise. So maybe those hyena will also be awake after their midday slumber. As I say, it's cooling off nicely now. Slowly but surely I'm starting to get my bearings in the reserve. Whenever I go to a new reserve, which happens pretty often, I am quite nomadic, just like those wild dogs. And I like to get lost, and that's the best way to find your way around. So I've been now on the same road a couple of times already and starting to work my way around, and it's only the second day here. A little klipspringer or duiker. Roshni asking the question, where am I from? Well, at the moment I live in Port Alfred, which is in the Eastern Cape, down in the Albany thicket. Here we are in the savanna biome, but I come from the Albany thicket biome, where we don't have as many big trees as we do have here. But like I say, I am pretty much a nomad. I move around quite a lot, and I have worked in many different places, from Namibia to South Africa, and at the moment finding myself back here in the greater Kruger area. I hear the question being that is it dangerous to go to animals, towards animals in an open vehicle? Well, generally, this vehicle, they generally see it as one unit. So it can be dangerous in the times that if we had to approach an animal, stop and view the animal, and if it were, for instance, elephant or lion especially, if somebody had to stand up in the vehicle, you would break the outline of the vehicle, and that animal will pick that person out individually. That could then be a dangerous situation, because then the animal actually identifies a human. Whereas once we approach an animal like this, even though the vehicle is open, he sees it as one unit, and he just sees it as that big green smelly animal once again coming along. So they don't generally associate a vehicle as either being dangerous or a threat, and they wouldn't normally react too badly to it. We generally have lions actually moving away from us. Elephants, we need to keep them a little bit away from us, but they can react a little bit towards us. That's all in how we behave towards them. So, but in general, it's not dangerous in an open vehicle, as I say, unless we break the outline of the vehicle, standing up and the animal actually identifying a personal human on board. I've actually had a situation where somebody stood up on the vehicle and it actually made a lion charge us. So that's just an example of what I was saying. Cheryl saying, how long have I been guiding for? I've been guiding ever since I left school, which was 18 years ago. So pretty much all of my professional life or career has been guiding, and all of which has been 18 years, to answer your question. And Yay 10 asking a good way to find direction in the wild, or keeping direction. Now, one easy way obviously is maintaining direction with the sun. At the moment it's busy going down, and we know where the sun goes down. No matter where you are on the planet, it will go down in the west. So from there you can draw a perpendicular line and you will find east, and you can cut that and you'll have north-south. Now, if it was cloudy and we wouldn't be able to see the sun, obviously we'd have to employ different tactics, and in that situation we could then use natural indicators such as your red-billed buffalo weavers. They will nest on the northwestern side of trees for reasons of thermoregulation, etc., but they would generally be on the northwestern side. So we could use that, but we would like to use a few different indicators, because sometimes a red-billed buffalo weaver might nest on a different side, and just for whatever reason, maybe there's another tree putting that nest in the shade, so they move it on to another side. So we would like to look at a couple of different indicators, maybe a few different nests, or we could look at different indicators such as termite mounds. Now, termites generally come out to work on the nest at night, so and the reason being that most of them don't have pigment in their skin, so they come out at night to work on the outer parts of the nest. And what happens then in the early morning on the northeastern side, it would dry on that side and in effect tip over to the southwestern side. So all the termite mounds generally would be pointing in a southwesterly direction. So we could then use that as another indicator. Lichen is another good indicator, which would generally grow on the southern side of trees and mountain or rocky outcrops, because they like to be in the shade and in the cooler areas. So we would like to use different things like that. If we want to use the sun once again, we can also use the shadow stick method. We put a stick in the ground, especially in the 4 hours around, especially around the 4 hours around midday. We would check how to get east-west line by drawing a shadow every half an hour, by marking where the shadow is with a stick in the ground. Right now I hear that Jamie's on some cheetah, so we can cross to her and see what's going on there. Okay, apologies. I hear that Taylor has got some leopard drinking water.
Well, it's more than just a leopard drinking water. It was so beautiful with a golden light, but he has finished now. It's not every day that we get to see leopards in the Mara, unlike the Sabi Sand that is littered with them, if you will. Very, very cool to have so much luck this afternoon. Wow. You really don't know what's going to pop out of even just the long grass. And that's something that's also taken me by surprise, is that how well these animals can camouflage themselves. And out in an open area or just underneath the shade of a tree, laying flat, you could have a leopard, you could have a cheetah with cubs, you could have a pride of lions. So many different things out here. But that is very, very, very cool. Unbelievable. Now he's walking dangerously close to this lugger. You can hear the frogs chirping away as well. and I hope he doesn't cross it, because if he crosses it, we've got to do quite a big detour around that will involve some speed racing, so that we don't lose him. Oi! Just scent marking there, urine spraying up against some shrubs, so different to the way they mark territories in the Sabi Sand. Obviously there's lots and lots of small shrubs, lots of guarri trees and lots of marulas and things along the road, but he doesn't have that here. My mic pack, oh, something was wrong with my comms apparently, or my sound. It's sitting, not bending or anything. Anyways, okay, let's keep up with him. I think we're gonna have to speed race. Okay, we're gonna try and keep our eye on him and cross where he crosses and see where he's going to end up. I'm gonna send you back across to Brent in the meantime and see what he's up to.
Sorry, hello, I think we are live. Sorry, I was trying to move a little bit higher up the hill, just in case the gremlins tried to evade us. Now, I've got a very, very special treat for everyone. Craig's going to shout at me because I'm taking my foot off the brake only now. I'm not making you look bad, Craig. I apologize. It was my fault. We are possibly in one of the most gorgeous and most stunning areas of the Mara, and I'm very excited to share it with you because you've never been here before. So this is a completely new part of the Mara, and that we've never shared with you before. The last time I was in this area was in June, and still then I was quite far from where we are right now. I was a little bit to there we go, that hill. I was over there with the. I'm going to actually have to ask Philemon for help, and Philemon is our ranger who's with us this evening, because my pronunciation of Maasai words is horrible, and I generally pride myself on the pronunciation of most languages, but Ola Muintik, how do the gate? Ola Lai Muintia. Ola Lai Muintia. Ola Lai Muintia. Pride, or sometimes their nickname is the Super Pride, and they're really big pride, and we were with them on the first ever sort of oh goodness, wait, Craig, I think that they're going to come into shot. Sorry, I get too excited. There was some ostriches that were chasing guinea fowl for the sake of chasing guinea fowl. Here we go. It just looks like the ostriches have decided to have a bit of fun. Oh, Craig can't see them. They're going to walk into shot in about. You can see the guinea fowl running away from them. Sorry, Craig, I'm worried about moving here. We are pretty much as far as you can get from our base camp as possible. Well, I might try to get further at some stage. And I said I had an imp on my shoulder this afternoon that we were going to go into an area we've never been before. There we go. There's the female ostrich. Now, there's 2 female ostriches, but they have 3 escorts. And I think the guinea fowls ran away, not due to the ostriches chasing them, but the fact that the males were competing for the lovely ladies. So there's the first of their escorts, and nice herd of zebra in the background as well. And also, an interesting fact, the first aardvark I ever saw in the Mara was right here, almost in this exact position, but it was at about, I don't know, 3 o'clock in the morning. And it was a very brief visual, but there we go. Look at him strutting his stuff. Now, I apologize, Craig, because I made you focus on the ostriches there, but we are in the most gorgeous setting. If we pan across away from the west towards the east, the light, the vista, there's a lot of Grant's gazelles around, there's a lot of Coke's hartebeest around, there's a lot of topia around, the odd zebra. I can hear a lost wildebeest somewhere. Dung, dung. But it is just too superb around here. And of course, us here at Safari Live and Wild Earth, we're still getting to know the Mara, and the longer we're here, the better we'll get to know it, and the more areas we are going to be able to show you. So it is such an exciting adventure to be able to take you into new places. And as we're going to work on our tech, we're going to work on everything, that we're going to be able to share almost 90% of the Mara with you, and I can't wait to be able to do that with you. But in the meantime, it seems like Rolf has found a leopard.
You know, maybe you guys would be able to tell me. You know these animals better than I do. It's only second day for me on this reserve, but this looks like a medium-aged male leopard, and like we thought, starting to cool down a little bit. Predators starting to come out a bit more, and he's come down and had a flat-out lay on the road where it seems to have cooled off nicely. So he's still a bit warm. He's still panting a little bit, you know, with that very high heart rate, such is the reason why they rest up during the day. But he's slowly but surely starting to have a little bit more awareness, looking around, maybe even thinking about a hunt. So let's just sit here a little while and see what he does, and maybe you guys can help me out as to identifying who he is. Does seem like he's got quite a short nose to him. See this crested francolin with a death wish? So look guys, sorry Anna, I'm going to get to your question now. I just want you to have a look at this interaction between the crested francolin and the leopard. I wonder if he's going to have a go at that crested francolin. He's definitely not happy with him being close to him like that. But Anna, what is the resemblance of those? We don't actually call them spots, they're more like rosettes. But those are, it's very much like the zebra and the giraffe. They're all individual markings. It's very much like your fingerprints as humans, all making out that particular individual genetic variations of a specific species. And like us as humans, like the zebra, like the giraffe, that is the way that they'll use to identify the young and different animals within the same species. But it does help them blend into the bush, helps for camouflage. And VM had a hunch that this was Hosanna, and the viewers have now confirmed this is Hosanna. Well done, folks. He's a lovely looking male, isn't he? Not very old, but he's not that young either. The crested francolin moving off, leaving him in peace. He wasn't happy with him being around there, hey, giving away his position. Very good looking male. Doesn't have too many battle scars. Hannah, you've got a question. How old does a leopard need to be to reach full size? Well, let's go through everything. The gestation period is about 100 days. They have about 2 to 3 young, and their lifespan would be about 21 years. So generally I would say in their mid sort of 10 to 15 years old would be in their prime, but all the way up to 21 years old. Obviously there would be some that would get a little bit older than that, and obviously some that would, especially where there's a lot of competition for space, for food, with a lot of fighting. Sorry, I cut off there. I just had a message. Somebody want to also come in and join us, but they're still a long way off, so I'll just let them know that they're more than welcome. Okay, folks, so he's not very active at the moment. I do think that he's going to become active soon. So, I mean, me personally, I think I'm gonna stick around here and keep watching him until he does move off. But I do think that Jamie might have something to show you in the meantime.
I do indeed have something to show you. I have something to show you at a great distance and with great urgency, because as the sun sets, it's getting harder and harder to see them. So the 5 musketeers, all 5 of them happy and healthy, and an entire... oh no, they're topi now. Was a herd of wildebeest behind them. They've somehow transformed into topi. Guess where they are? Not where we expected to find them. That much I can tell you. So we're very far away from where we originally thought they were. So it's entirely possible that we were on the right track. It was just that they moved quickly. Excuse me. That is a south-facing slope. Our repeater is on the other side of it, which is why we're sitting here in the way that we are. What that means is that we probably won't be seeing you for a little while, because we're going to go and sit with them and wait for them to get moving. But we could easily see you before the end of the sunset safari, because I do think they're going to get up and moving. There's topi up at the top, and they do like topi, so that's probably what they're going to do. So we might disappear for a while, wait for them to walk us into good signal, because everywhere around them is good signal. It's just that slope. Just where they've chosen to be. Hey boys, not where everybody told me you were at all. So last look at them. Unfortunately, as you can see, it is getting very, very dark. So it's something just quickly to show you. They're basically pixels, not quite. You can see that they're cheetah. You should have heard me laugh when we found them, just because we were so far away from where we thought they were. And they're so beautifully out in the open as well. These vehicles will have to be making their way home soon, which means we do have to move across to where we don't have signal, so that we can keep an eye on them for you. Otherwise they're going to disappear if we try and stick to signal. So what we'll do is we'll go around there. We'll be gone for a little while, but hopefully we'll be back. Hopefully our gamble will pay off and they will be back then. Right, so while we go wandering off in the direction of our 5 spotted cats, Taylor's had the most amazing luck over the past week, and she's with a spotted cat of her own.
We are indeed with a spotted cat of our own as he slinks his way through the very green grass, just hugging the edge of the lugger. Thankfully, not wandering too far away on the other side, so we're able to follow him from the eastern side of this drainage line. Oh, he's so beautiful. I wonder where he's going, though. I can see a ridge up ahead, and there are lots of trees, and it seems to be quite a rocky area. So I reckon that would be a good spot, especially if you've just been chased by lions and had your kills stolen. Because I really think that that's what's happened. Maybe that will be a good place to go and sort of seek some refuge, also just to catch your breath again. And from that angle, he'll probably be able to scan back in the direction from which those lions were coming, and he can keep an eye on them like that. And he's just staring back at us. He's beautiful. Now, Tesla, my young friend, hello, my dear. I hope that you are well and that you are behaving at school. And you were wondering who... you said firstly that this is a very cool leopard, and you're wondering how old he is. I don't know, Tesla. It's a bit difficult. Hopefully we'll be able to figure out who he is. I don't know if anyone has mentioned which leopard this is. Maybe some of you have done some scratching around and figured out who it is. But I think he's anywhere between he's around 7 years old, give or take a little bit. It's so hard to say because I wasn't here when he was born, so I'm just taking a guess just by looking at some of his scarring that he's got. But again, you know, not necessarily lots of scars doesn't always indicate that an animal's old. Maybe it was just, you know, not a good fighter and kept losing battles, and then they can become, you know, quite scarred up from a very young age. But he's definitely a mature male, that's for sure. Yes, he's marking. Off he goes into the gorgeous sunset. We literally are being able to follow him by his tail at the moment. Otherwise we lose him. Let's go. Now we need to catch up with him. Otherwise we really are going to lose him. Okay. So, Linda, you're wondering how fast a leopard can run. Now, the thing about leopards, the amazing part is not how fast they can go, their top speed, but it's their amazing acceleration speed. And we have been talking about acceleration speeds of animals. We had an attempted hunt with the Sausage Tree Pride lions on a warthog yesterday morning. And a leopard can charge, its charging speed is 24 meters per second, which is very quick. Now, leopards don't need to run very fast for very long. They try and get right underneath their prey and they'll pounce on top of them, sometimes even diving out of trees on top of their prey. I've seen some videos of that. I've never seen it personally, though. That would be incredible to see. So that's the bit that's exciting. And then they just disappear into the grass. I think we're at our road now. Let's cross. And still coming on the other end. It's not quite a road. I think it once was a road. It's now washed away and the grass is sort of growing back. And we are using it. And I just hope we don't get stuck, because if we're going to get stuck, I feel like it's going to be here today. So when we came through, we just hugged the outside path. Across we go. Oh my goodness, we've got a chorus of amphibians too. You will see him. He's actually... No, he's coming. He's on this path. He's actually on a hippo pathway at the moment. That's what he's using to navigate through this thick grass, because it is quite thick. Isn't that beautiful? The sounds, the sight. As he walks straight towards us. Now, Michael, you were wondering about leopard territories and whose is larger, the leopards in the Mara or the leopards in the Sabi Sand. I would say the leopards in the Mara. The leopard density is not quite to the extent in the Sabi Sand, where I think leopard populations in general are a lot smaller. The males, of course, are quite large, but because there aren't as many here, they can have bigger places. The Sabi Sand is the ideal habitat for a leopard. There's plenty of impala, there's lots of riverlines, there's nice trees for them to utilize to take their kills up in them. You know, there's not so many huge open areas like there are here in the Mara. So I think that, well, it is. The leopard territories out here will be much, much bigger. Look at him, he's walking right past the car. He doesn't care about us. It is so great. Even rubbing it in a little bit, telling us about how much he doesn't care about us and marking his territory. And he's got a dewlap too. He's got a big dewlap, in fact. I'm trying to duck out of the way. But my ponytail always makes it into the shot. Hello. Every time. There he goes, just crossing right in front of us. Isn't that sound is deafening, isn't it? Oh, there we go. I should have said that earlier. They stopped. Oh, you beautiful cat, you. Now, Vichen, you're wondering how much food will a leopard need to eat every day? Well, it depends on what it can catch. Can I go forward a little bit? Maybe we just change this up. I'll answer the question properly now. So, yeah, so basically it's just how much can that leopard catch? Because they're not particularly good. I thought that was quite nice with the sunset. And, oh, I can smell that popcorn smell. Oh, I have not smelt that for such a long time. I know it sounds bizarre, inhaling really deeply in an area where a leopard is just urinated. My mic, again, I don't know why it keeps doing that. Oh, I see the problem. There's a problem with my antenna, it's pulling out. Ah, okay, well, I'll try and sit still. I might have to tape it up. So sorry for any breakup that may have occurred. That was on my behalf here on my mic pack, but we'll try to get that sorted in a minute. So they'll try and catch and eat whatever they can and as often as they can. He's obviously got quite a full belly, and if he walks along this pathway now that he's on and he finds a dik-dik or he finds a common reedbuck or a herd of impala or whatever it may be, he probably will try and go for it. Leopards are known for caching food, so even if he maybe has a kill somewhere else, though I suspect he's lost it wouldn't stop him from catching another one. But from one leopard to another, we're going to go from this beautiful big male on a territorial patrol to a lovely lass and a youngster, and I wonder which leopard Ralph has got.
What's his name? Confirmed it's Tandy. I had confirmation that it's Tandy. What's his name? American chap?
No, this is sort of US.
Okay, folks, I'm just talking a little bit low here because this animal's just come very, very close. And in fact, folks, I think with all the excitement, initially I thought that that head was a lot squarer than it is. And I'm definitely thinking now that it is a female, and it seems that we're moving closer to the one that is called Tandi. But like I said, I can't confirm in any way whatsoever, but I definitely think this is a female now as opposed to being a male. Sorry for my excitement in the beginning, that was my mistake. But she's definitely looking for potential prey. And she's listening out as she moves down towards this drainage line. Lovely light at the moment. Such stealth and camouflage, eh? I wouldn't like to be prey in this situation because she'd walk up on you so easily. Anything being that white spot on the end of the tail, which is sometimes the only thing that I see when I actually spot leopard, is that just that white dot in the bush. Kathy, the question being, how safe is a leopard being so far from cover, away from big trees? Well, with her camouflage, she almost blends so easily into the bush, but obviously she does run the risk of getting in trouble with animals like hyena and lion. But there are a couple of big trees around, and if she had to notice anything coming towards her big like that, I'm pretty sure she would be up one of these knob thorns in a hurry. There is enough big trees around for her to scuttle up, and I definitely think that she's 100% safe. And with her ears listening out sensitively as they are, I doubt that anything would be able to sneak up on her. I think she's the one doing the sneaking up on. So Kathy, I wouldn't worry about her. I would worry about what she's looking for. Like all cats, they do like to clean themselves regularly. She's doing a little bit of that now. Proud cat mama, how many teeth does a leopard have? And that's a very good question. She obviously has the very big incisors in the front, so it would be 2 on each side, and just trying to work through. She obviously also has the molars at the back to be able to crush bones, and I would say at least 3 pairs on each side. So what do we got there? 6, 12, 16 with the incisors. I would say she's got at least 20 to 26 teeth in her mouth, and those carnassial shears as well to be able to cut the meat. So we're looking at probably 26 plus. But I'm not exactly sure on the exact number of teeth in their mouth, but I would say in the region of about 26 to 28 teeth. The most important being the incisors to inflict that killing bite, and the carnassial shear is the teeth which enable them to cut through the meat, and then obviously the molars would be the ones which grind the meat and any of the bones which they need to grind up and digest as well, because they don't want to be swallowing whole pieces of bone. The digestive system, or acid in the digestive system, is not as strong as that of hyena, which are able to turn bone into dust, but even them, they do still like to crush the bones up a little bit, but their digestive system is way stronger than that of a leopard. So these guys definitely wouldn't chew on those big bones like hyena. So it seems like we're having a bit of a leopard festival this evening, and I believe that Taylor's also watching a leopard, and once we move off from here, you guys are going to link over to another leopard.
We're just about to lose him, though, I'm afraid. This is going to be our last view of our friend the leopard. And the reason for that is because he's heading towards a sort of minefield filled with rocks. And it's one thing trying to sort of travel over them by day, but it's another at night. It's quite easy to damage the cars. So we will leave him. I think he has done a great job starring on today's episode of All the Sunset Safari. Or maybe not. Maybe he's just going to lay there. Shall we quickly reposition them while we've got an opportunity and have one more view? But I must tell you, he's just walked the most incredible route, and it's a route that's only suited to a leopard. Just these beautiful little luggers, and the light was just catching the water. Now he's heading to a sort of treed area and then a rocky spot. So we'll watch him as he goes over. There's another bustard or a korhaan actually standing up on a termite mound at the moment. You can see just on the right-hand side of your screen, standing out. I'm sure that bird has spotted the leopard. Whether the leopard's going to be too bothered by a bird, I highly doubt it. Now, Cornelia, you're wondering if I've ever seen a black leopard in the wild? No, I've never seen a melanistic leopard before. That would be absolutely incredible. For those of you who don't know what a melanistic leopard is, as Cornelia said, so it's black. So it's got quite a bit of the melanin gene rather than lacking it. So almost like those rosettes just all merged to one color of darkness. And I've never seen one. I haven't heard one being out here, but again, I'm still very new to this area. All those insects. Now, this is a combination of not just those midges that we were talking about, but I can see some alates being released in the left-hand corner of your screen. They're starting to sort of spiral, almost like a tornado-like, out of a termite mound. You see that they are coming out of the termite mound too, the top left-hand corner. That's really, really nice. There we go, you got it. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I love it. That's one of my favorite things. Of course, alates, the princes and princesses of termites. The same thing goes with ants being released after the rains and ready to go and start their own colony. Very cool. But what a great leopard sighting. They're very, very nice. I have a suspicion it's the same male leopard that Brent saw, which is very exciting. And maybe we'll try come and follow up here tomorrow morning, but we'll let him be. Brent, however, has also got a beautiful scene of some insects.
Well, it's actually an inundated scene. Look at that. Have you ever seen an insect explosion like this? And it's not alates. It's not termite alates. It is what we call in South Africa Christmas beetles, which are actually fruit chafers. There are so many around us. There's just an absolute explosion of them after the rain. Now, if any of you have roses at home, you will have a cousin of these that is the absolute enemy of any garden flower, because they eat all the petals. Now, as Craig comes out, I'll try to catch you one. And we're sitting at, I think this has got to be one of the best views in the Mara. And actually, before we try catch ourselves some fruit chafers, so those hills over there are in Tanzania. So that's the Serengeti. And I'll try to show you now. There we go. And if we go, and you can see all the water from the rain of the last few days. Now, if we come out to the right, I'll show you where home is for us when we're on this side of the river. There it is there. So directly below that hill on the Sand River is Sala's camp. And I know it's nasty to be biased, but it is my favorite camp in the Mara. Then we've got the double hill of Roan Hill, and if we keep going, Craig was unbelievably spot on to where Serena is. So Taylor is actually, let's just have a look. Oh, Craig, oh, there we go. Actually, Taylor, accidentally we found Taylor there. So Taylor is actually just behind those two hills. And I'm pretty sure it's the same male leopard we saw. That's called Mlima Mbili. And if we go off to the right, about over there, I think it was. There's an end of a hill. Oh, no, I've got lost. But a little bit more to the right. We keep going. We might even... There we go. There we go. That's Serena. And if we keep going to the right, home itself. Oh no, I lied, Craig. I've made a mistake. Home itself. Yes, no, I'm not. I'm right. There it is. So we can't see the lights. We're about 50 odd kilometers away, but home is on that ridge somewhere. Now, as I was saying, we're absolutely being inundated by bugs tonight, and it is a... I thought they were alates when I saw them from a distance, but for some reason they've decided our car is a great place to be. And I'm just going to catch one. I'll be very careful. There we go. I've got one. Where would you like it, Craig? On the dash? Yeah, on the dash. So I'm going to try, just let him walk there. I'm not let him walk too far. No, there's... Oh dear. It's gone. Wait, we need a replacement. Don't worry, I'm not hurting them. I'm being very gentle. Well, they're going to hurt me when we start driving because I'm going to have to drive very slowly so they don't fly into me. There we go. Oh, I've got about 20 in case instead I wanted one. One's landed on my buff. One is I normally use my buff to keep bugs out of my mouth on my buff, Craig. There. So there, it is a fruit chafer beetle. Now, in South Africa, or in Africa, we call them Christmas beetles. Now, your traditional Christmas beetle is a cicada. So the sound that is normally associated with these fruit chafers is that high-pitched screaming. However, what we call Christmas beetles don't scream at all. They're actually fruit chafers, so they feed off leaves and flower petals. I know my grandmother has waged many a war against their relatives back down at home, because... My grandmother loves a good rose bush. However, fortunately, my grandmother is not quite up to date with technological things and stuff. But my dad and myself, every time she would go away, we would actually remove one of her rose bushes and plant an indigenous tree. Our little help. Shh, don't tell anyone. I might get into trouble. We also did the same thing to my mother. Well, we did tell my mother about that. But enough nonsense about grandmothers, mothers, and rose bushes and fruit chafers. Let's go across to Jamie and the Five Musketeers. You're back. Craig was about to put our infrared lights on, but we're live again. And wait, let me sit up so you can actually see how many of these fruit chafers are buzzing around. There we go, with this gorgeous sight. It sounds like Jamie and the five boys are in some gremlin country. Oh, I know today's been actually quite a special day for me. I don't know why. I've just you get those days when you just thoroughly enjoy being out, and fortunately, even while we're being absolutely battered from all sides by fruit chafers, being with Craig is obviously a good friend, and a new good friend, which is Philemon, who is our ranger who's been with us, and Philemon has actually been with me a couple of times now, so it is always great. Wow, it is. They are absolutely swarming. Now, it literally sounds like there's an aeroplane taking off around us. This is... I mean, they are just everywhere. Oh, I think we've got some of Philemon's compadres coming to check to make sure we're not naughty people staying out after drive. But of course, we're not. So we'll say hello right now. They're fortunate. They've got a windscreen to keep them away from all the bugs. Habari, habari! Habari! Balia guys! Super! So guys, we are live, and of course, most people are not allowed to stay out after 6:30 or 7 o'clock in the evening, and we're very privileged to be able to go on night drives. So the guys are just checking that we are good. So we're good. Santa Sana, Safari and Gemma. Let's go all the way back to Ralph, back in Djuma.
Yeah, we're trying to keep up with this ingwe, as they call it locally, leopard, but she's taking us on a bit of a goose chase here through the thick stuff. We're just trying to work out where she's going. She was in the drainage line. There she is now on the other side, and I think she's going to pop out on the other side. I don't believe we can go through there. So I think from here, folks, we're going to have to back out and try and anticipate where she's going and try and meet up with her there. But once she disappears here, we might not actually pick up from her again, but we will try our best to try and anticipate where she's going and try and see. But you know how leopard and these wild animals are, that might be the last we see of her, but we will try and catch up with you. I tell you what, folks, this has been an amazing encounter, and I always remind people that especially when they see leopard on their first safari, it took me 4 years before I saw my first leopard while guiding. So you guys need to really appreciate these encounters as they happen, because it's not every day that we get to see leopard like this. Here in the Sabi Sands is very, very special, and there's a lot of them, but otherwise not as much. Addis, the question that I've got from Addis, aged 8, how strong is a leopard's jaw? Well, I'll tell you that it is strong enough to break a neck of an impala and kill it, but it is not as strong as hyena's jaws, which are way more strong than leopard's jaws, but they can crush small bones. But once you get onto the fibula or the big leg bones of impala or female kudu, they wouldn't be able to bite through that. But they do have the power to crush small bones, but then again not the bigger ones. So in the animal world, it's quite a medium sort of strength, but enough to kill and bite off big pieces of meat, and obviously fulfill the function of eating. But they're not particularly bone crushers like the hyenas are. See, leopard would like to more disembowel animals, and they eat on the rich kidney, liver, especially of bigger animals. Sometimes they'll kill such a big animal that they actually don't eat all the meat. They literally open it up, eat that organs, the heart, the liver, the kidneys, and sometimes either get bumped off of it or they move on and they actually leave the rest. The jackals might finish it, but that's what they would start with. Let's just have a look here if we can spot her. Kaylin, question being, would a leopard hunt a goose? Well, like with a lot of the predators, they are opportunists. So we're just stopping here just to see if we can pick up on where she's moved. They are opportunists, Kaylin. So absolutely, they would hunt a goose, especially when they're younger. Even this animal, if he came across a goose that was allowing him to get close enough, he would pounce and he would eat on it. The younger animals, especially once they've moved away from the mother or the mother has left them, they will definitely take almost whatever they can get until they get the strength to start hunting bigger prey, such as impala, baboons, etc. But as I say, young animals, old animals, sick animals, they will definitely hunt geese as well, but it wouldn't be their prime pick. They want to go for the impala and baboons, maybe even monkeys, but impala baboons are generally the best prey. And they also do like warthogs, so they would eat pigs. So we're just going to sit here and we're going to try and figure out where this cat has moved. Like I said, that might have been the last that we see of her. She's moved along that drainage line, and once they move into thick brush like that, very often that's the last you see of them. But we're going to hang here, and I do believe that Jamie is sitting on some nice cheetah that she'd like to show you.
I would love to show you, and the fact that we have signal and picture is a relief to all involved. So well done to our genius addition to the tech team, Martin, for figuring out that by putting me on a different repeater, we were able to get picture, and somehow magically I can hear Faith talking to me as well. So we've got the five boys. The fifth has just gone for a little wander, and they've just had a little bit of a scrap. It started out as play pouncing, I think, and then all of a sudden it turned into that squeaking chaos that their fights entail. Of course, they don't growl and snarl like leopards or lions. They squeak. It's hard to take them seriously when they squeak like that, but of course their fights can be serious. And we don't know that these five boys killed another cheetah, but it is suspected, it is strongly suspected, which is what happens when you get territorial battles. Fortunately, though, the whole process and whatever separated the one from the rest of the group hasn't destroyed their bond between the five boys, and they're back together, and they seem to be content in the group that they're in. I'm so chuffed that we found them in the end. Even if it is completely in the opposite direction of where we thought they would be, this has worked out well, and the fact that we found signal on top of it, well, it's just the perfect end, isn't it? It makes being out in the sun and on the hot day and the flies and everything like that, everything pales into insignificance when you get a moment like this. Especially when you can see them bonding and grooming. Riti, that is the question, is it not? Because at some point these boys must have mated, and you want to know if they will split up when a female comes along. It's going to be complicated. Typically, cheetah coalitions have a dominant member, but usually cheetah coalitions are only 2 or 3 individuals. And that dominant one is almost invariably the one that mates, but the other one may manage to sneak in and mate with a female as well. Now, I don't know exactly how the dynamics will play out or have played out with these boys when a lady is concerned. I can guarantee that there will be, or have been, some serious scraps between them, because I don't, D'Artagnan's having such a great back scratch back there. I don't think that they've properly established exactly who's boss, and they may never actually establish exactly who's boss in this coalition. It's one of the reasons why cheetah, as a general rule, of these boys being the interesting exception, but as a general rule are quite picky about their coalition members. It's either brothers, or we're off, or it is cousins that will join together in a coalition. Because that dominant member is the one that usually gets a chance to pass on his genes, it makes sense to only be supportive when it's your brother. Oh, hi, Bacon. Yes, cheetah have killed humans in the past. It's very unusual. It happened a few months ago. It was a small child, and that's typically where that sort of incident will occur. It was a tame-ish cheetah. It was a captive cheetah, and it very sadly killed, I think it was a little boy back in South Africa. So yes, it has happened that cheetah have killed people before. They're not a threat, really, to an adult human being. I don't know about these 5 boys, though. I reckon that they would give you a run for their money. I've been charged by a female cheetah before with a cub. Let's go catch up. So, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure if they would I think they would still be intimidated by a human, to be honest. A cheetah's not really a threat to an adult human. There are very few cases where a person has been attacked by a cheetah. They're few and far between. There they are. Few and far between, and it's very unusual. I know two people actually personally who've been attacked by a cheetah, strangely enough. One whacked it on the head with a stick and it immediately turned around and ran away. And the other had a nasty bite to the arm and a few scars, but was absolutely fine afterwards and lived to tell the tale. Alright, Faith, just so that you know, your comms are starting to disappear, but we are moving towards the top of the ridge, which is exactly where I was hoping they were going to move. So the comms will come back. I know that Faith is sending through questions. I'm afraid I can't hear them for now, but I will be able to answer them once we get to the top of the ridge. Let's see which direction we're going in. Don't stop here, boys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to catch up with them. I'm going to see where they're going, and I'm going to give you one last look. Not last look, but one look for now. And then what we'll do, there we go. So they're just across to the left of us. Let's see if they're still moving. Let's have a look with the infrared. Yeah, they are still moving. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow these cheetah boys. For now, I'm going to... Oh, I almost got Faith back there. What a lovely question coming through from Aiden, who is 6 years old. Come, Aiden, let's go catch up with these cheetahs. You come with me, and I'll answer your question as we go along. Aiden, 6 years old, you want to know why their eyes look like flashlights. Now, cheetah have a very special membrane at the back of their eyes, or a layer. And that is the same layer that wildebeest or lions or different types of animals have. We don't have it as well developed as the cheetah do. But what it does is it bounces the light back, and that allows them to see much better than us in the dark. So it's called the tapetum lucidum, but you don't really need to worry about remembering that at the moment. But essentially, it reflects any light back. Now, we're not using white light. We're using a special type of light that you and I can't see. So it's called infrared light, and human beings and other mammals can't see it. It just looks like a red glow. But it does help us to see, and the camera's got a special way of converting what it's seeing to be able to show you the picture of the cheetah, even though I can't see them with my own eyes. So that's why the cheetah's eyes look like spotlights. It's reflecting the light back at us, and that allows them to see in the dark. And that's why some animals shine even more than others. Is this cheetah going to go and drink? It might do. Yes. No? Yes, possibly. No, just walking in front of us. I thought it was going to go and have a drink at the puddle. Proud cat mama. I'm not sure how long D'Artagnan will wear his collar. It is very stylish, of course. So for our new viewers, sorry, Proud cat mama, let me just explain. Oh, a little bit of a limp still. Still looking a little the worse for the wear. That will heal up, and they can still, that cheetah will still be able to run. So one of the cheetahs wears a collar, and that gives very, very useful data to people who research these cheetah very closely. And that in turn proves invaluable in terms of conserving the species as a whole. So the collar is essential, and the collar, especially for a situation that is as unusual as this appears to be, is really valuable in terms of the data it provides. Proud cat mama, I don't know when the collar went on, and I don't know what settings it is set to. So obviously the more it updates their location, the quicker the batteries will run out. I know it gives a GPS signal. There we go, we're over here. I know it passes on a GPS signal to the cheetah researchers. I know that happens once a day. I don't know if it happens any more than that. So that will determine the battery life, and collars can last anywhere from about a year to about 3 years. And then it will most likely be replaced depending on what's happening with these cheetah boys, because cheetah coalitions, or in fact all cheetah, change territories, move around. They have enormous home ranges throughout their lives. So it's really very, very important to follow this group of cheetah throughout their natural lifespan, because it's going to teach us so much. And remember, that in turn has an impact because there's no fences here. They could go wandering to Tanzania, they could go wandering into the communities that surround this area. So it's very, very important in understanding animal movements to be able to mitigate the effects of conflict with human beings. And that in turn will help to keep the cheetahs safe. As a species as a whole, essentially. Romit, I don't know. It's something that I will have a chat about at some point when I have the opportunity to. We want to know why the other cheetah haven't been given a name. There's lots of wildebeest off to the right, lots of wildebeest ahead of us. They're hunting. They are hunting. Okay, there's a herd of wildebeest up ahead, and they're making their way towards it. Now, I can't see it, but it is just up ahead. So what we're going to do is we're just going to ensure that we don't get our lights on the cheetah, because that's going to give it away. But we're going to move forward just a little bit. I'll ask why the other cheetahs haven't been given a name. We will not be naming them unless we are given express permission to do so, since they already have been named as a coalition. Can we just have a look off to the left where the cheetah are? Sorry, I'm going to need to use your eyes there, Jahawi. I just put my thermal away. Where have they gone? Where have they gone? There they are. Here they come. They've changed direction ever so slightly, but you can really see the intent in the cheetah's body language. And you can see it in the way that they are moving. So the herd is about, probably I would say, about, from what I can see, and it's hard to gauge in the dark, probably about 150 odd yards away from where the cheetahs are now. Now, it's been fascinating watching the way that these cheetah boys hunt, because it's not like what we understand typical cheetah hunting behavior. To see them hunt at night is like watching lions hunt. It's like following hunting lions. And it turns into utter chaos. Mr. P, cheetah aren't completely unable to climb trees, and in fact I've seen them climb quite high up into trees just while these boys have a bit of a break and plan their next move. They're still watching the wildebeest, but I don't think that I'm not sure whether they've decided to go for it just yet. It doesn't look like it. So why can't they climb trees? They can. And I've seen them scent mark right up in the top of balanites and the top of marula trees back in South Africa. But they can't climb like leopards or lions, and that's because first of all, their claws are structured differently. They have semi-retractable claws rather than fully retractable claws, which bluntens them, obviously. They use them for traction. And so they're almost like a dog's claws. If you ever hold a cheetah's foot, the claws very much feel like a dog's. So they're not geared towards that. Their leg structure is different. Their muscle structure is different. Built for that speed, they've got very, very flexible spines, which allows them to expand and contract in the way that they do when they're running at full speed. So all of those factors actually ultimately make for an animal that's not really geared for climbing. They can do it, but it's not what they've evolved to do. They are true cats, though. They're just an entirely different kind of cat. Closer to a house cat than they are to the big lions and leopards. Oh, let me think. What I'm actually going to do is we're going to keep watching them. We're going to keep an eye on them, because obviously I can't see if they're moving. And once we pop the camera back on them, I'm going to ask Jahawi to pass me my thermal, my flare, because I I thought we were heading home because we didn't have any signal. So now that we found signal, which is fantastic, it changes the game completely, and I'm going to have to set it up. Otherwise, it's going to make following them during this hunt very tricky because I can't use my white light. Riti, cheetah do a combination. Oh goodness, okay. Thanks, Jahoe. You go ahead. I can see one's up, but that's all right. We've got time. Thanks so much. Got it. Riti, they do a combination of hearing and seeing, so they can see their prey. All right, we're all up now. I don't think I'm gonna have time for this. I really don't think I'm gonna have time for this. Okay, let's just pop that down for now and follow them. I'm going to do things very cautiously. I can't drive without headlights because otherwise I will fall in a hole. But I can drive so that I don't illuminate them. That I can do. So I'm driving parallel to them, making sure that my beam doesn't touch them. Alright, let's do a quick check on their position. Let's see if they're still or if they're moving. That will change my mind about the flare. There they are, they're still moving. Practice makes perfect, everyone. I've done this so many times. I should be able to do it in the dark quickly. Should being the operative word. There we go, okay. Come on, lock. There we go, locked. There they go, stalking towards them. Watch the way that they work. Watch the way that they plan this out and work together as a team. And you'll see what I mean when I say that it's almost as though they hunt like lions. There they are, they're going. Why is the cord never where you want it to be? There we go. I'm up and running. That's fantastic. Okay, that helps tremendously. Let's go catch up with them. That head down posture is indicative of the fact that they are focused on hunting. Please turn on. Hey, thank you. Okay. They've got much closer. Act of faith here, driving forward, because I can't see. Let's stop and check up on the position. They're over there to the left. They're moving around to the left of the wildebeest. And when they come, they're going to run in towards the herd, and the herd's going to run in front of us. A little bit further to the right, sorry. They're right on the edge of the wildebeest herd, I think. No, here they come. Sorry, they're right to the left of us, right next to us. There they go. Apologies. I thought a wildebeest was a cheetah. So one is up ahead, the four following behind. Look at the intent and the focus. Not going about stalking in any way, like a leopard might or a lion sneaking through the grass. It's a completely different process. Almost reminds me of wild dogs. You know the way that wild dogs walk towards their prey like that? That's exactly what it looks like. So they've closed the distance to now about 70 or so yards from the herd, from what I can see in my thermal. And that process of walking forward and then lying down also reminds me of lions. Very, very similar. This whole social process is incredible. You can see how many insects there are. Off we go. We're trotting forward. And now they're racing off, but not full speed. Where's their leader gone? What have they gone for? I think they were moving towards wildebeest on... Oh, here we go. We're off. We're off. We're off. trotting. You see, this is where they cause chaos. Okay, hold on. They're sprinting after the herd, and I think they've already messed it up. Okay, I can see up ahead of me. Hold on, everyone. All right, let's just check here. There's a cheetah off to the left of us. They've calmed down. I think they've failed already. The wildebeest herd hasn't run far, though. But I'm not sure that's what they were after. After all that, they appear to be spread out and moving further to the left of where we are. Can hear the wildebeest alarm calling. Okay. We can catch up with them. I think they've given up that hunt. So you'll notice I use my spotlight very briefly. It is split seconds that I can just glance and see exactly where everything is to make sure that I don't in any way impact them. Oh, the stink bugs are out in full force. It's that very acrylic smell. And they're going to their shepherd's tree, just like I asked them to earlier, didn't I, Jahoe? Hey, boys. We've got two there. Oh, fighting. Bit of a scrap. They've definitely abandoned the hunt. If they're doing that, they've abandoned the hunt. Okay. We're going to carry on. We're going to follow them to their shepherd's tree. Faith, I just want to gauge the distance between them and the shepherd's tree because we might get some nice tree climbing behavior, which would fit beautifully with what we were talking about, if that's okay. Okay, we've only got a few meters to cover and then they're going to go to their shepherd's tree. They might climb this one. I've seen them climb this one in the past, which is odd, because it's a very uncomfortable looking tree to climb. Okay, here they come. In theory, here they come. Where did you go? Oh, boys. No, I apologize. They've pulled a sneaky maneuver on me and they've just changed direction. Okay, so in that case, I'm going to catch up with them. I've been monopolizing the evening, and of course you've just met Ralph, so I'm not going to keep you away from him for too much longer. What I'm going to do is catch up with our cheetah and I'll send you over to Ralph in the meantime.
Continue on the search looking for that leopard, but it does seem that she's disappeared, so we're going on another loop to try and see if we can maybe pick up on her. But in the meantime, all the night birds are starting to come alive. We're hearing their little scops owlet every 5 seconds, and the pearl-spotted owlet, which is a prolific hunter of small little birds. If you play that call, you very often have numerous birds coming after you, and that's actually a good way of calling in a little bird party. But they do the something like that. I'm not the best at the bird calls, but excellent night bird life starting to come alive now. So we've gone through that afternoon heat where all the birds were dead quiet. There was only the odd little francolin and spurfowl calling with the odd grey go-away bird, and from there everything has started to come alive. We've seen the giraffe, the impala. We've now had a lovely experience with the leopard. The night birds are now coming alive, and the leopard obviously becoming more active. So now we continue. We try to see if we can pick up on her again, but it hasn't been a bad game drive at all. I wouldn't say so. Like I said, 4 years for my first leopard. So 2 days on Juma and I've got a leopard. Isn't a bad count at all. And here we start going into the first quarter of the lunar cycle. If Leon can get us a nice view of that. And yeah, from here I think we're just going to continue, maybe make it one more loop, see if we can find this leopard. Otherwise we'll move on and just close off our drive, trying to see whatever else we can find. But one more loop and we'll take it from there. And it was actually quite interesting. She jumped right into camp. So Mr. P, how many animals have I seen in my life? A question from Mr. P. Wow, that's an interesting question, Mr. P. I'm not quite sure. I've seen quite a few, and I hope I see a lot more. But now to put a number on it, I would say thousands, if not hundreds of thousands. How many leopards have I seen? That may be a more pertinent question. I would say since that first leopard that I saw after 4 years of guiding, I have seen a number of leopard, but I haven't actually counted. But I would have to say that maybe I might have gone over 100 leopard in 18 years. I haven't seen one every day like some people do here on Juma. I've sort of been in areas where it's a lot more difficult to actually find leopard, in places like Namibia, northern parts of Kruger, in the Makuleki concession, but and in the Eastern Cape, obviously they've actually got quite a big problem with the sheep farmers who over the years have pretty much hunted those leopard into secrecy. It's not that there aren't any leopard there. We often find their tracks, but when they hear vehicles, they disappear. Because of that hunting pressure, because they would go out and feed on the sheep. So if a leopard is a noisy leopard, if he rasps at night or he makes himself known, he's a dead leopard. So the evolution of the leopard in those areas have been now that they must be quiet, they must be secretive, and they will survive. However, in the Eastern Cape is one of the areas where there's one of the only known areas of melanistic or black leopards. That's what we would call almost like a panther of the Asian sorts. But there have still been in the last 3 years a couple of sightings of these black leopards, and we hope they're still around. But once the hunters pick up on them, or the farmers, unfortunately sometimes they do meet an unlikely end. But I still believe that there's a lot of leopard in the area, but they keep to themselves. I've picked up on the tracks, and they're one of the most adaptive cats and animals in the world. I mean, when I was studying nature conservation in Pretoria, we actually got called out to try and help capture a leopard that had been spotted in a block of flats. One of the old ladies got up at 4 in the morning because she heard a scratching at the door. She opened the door and there was a leopard trying to get into her little dog. And that was in a block of flats, and that leopard was alive and well and had obviously been feeding on possibly dogs and cats. But anyway, leopards being very adaptable. This leopard has now evaded us for now. We keep trying to find her, but for the moment I think it's just going to be a bit of hit and miss. So going around on another loop, we're going to go back to that little water hole that we were at. Maybe she's popped out in the time that we've left. So as we start now to head into the darkness, we're going to head to this water hole. I believe Taylor is also driving in the dark somewhere in the Mara. Maybe she's got something different to tell you.
I don't know, Ralph. I think the viewers are all thoroughly enjoying all your stories. It's always nice to hear story. Story time is the best. We tell lots of stories, don't we? Yeah. How many animals have I seen, says Ferg? I don't know. Lots. I've been very privileged to see lots and lots and lots of different types of animals. I'm not going to try and name them all for you because I think I'm going to put you all to sleep. But very funny. Ferg, how many animals have you seen? Should we start with A's first?
Yeah.
So Ferg is quite funny tonight. He also said, he said to me earlier, he said, let's play a game. And I was like, okay, great, love games, favorite thing. And he's like, and I said, what's the game, Ferg? And he says, you have to open your mouth and dry so you can catch the most bugs. I'm not playing that. You've seen me with a dung beetle in my mouth before. I've had caterpillars on my face. I've spat out flies live. Let's not have, well, a reenactment of that. But luckily we made it through safely. There was one spot, probably about 2 miles back. Oh, what a nightmare. It was just swarms of insects of all kinds everywhere, hitting me in the face, hitting me in the head. I had to keep my mouth closed very tight though, so they were just hitting my lips. That was it, thankfully. And I didn't eat any just yet, although as I sit here and talk, I better put a shield up because I don't stop talking and it's quite easy for them to then come dinner. And I don't want to spoil my dinner because we're having pizza night tonight in the Mara. How cool is that? I feel like you should all know and be envious of how delicious it's going to be. Homemade pizzas. I mean, never did I think I'd be in the middle of the Mara Triangle, the Maasai Mara National Reserve, and be eating thin crust pizzas with the most delicious toppings. So it's quite nice. It's always nice every now and then to have some, I suppose, Western food, isn't it? Although we eat fairly well at Wild Earth. Very spoiled. We've got the greatest chefs, we've got the greatest of everything. So I haven't found any lions. Since you last saw us, I was searching for those 2 lions that we saw in the beginning that we suspected stolen the kill from the leopard, but I couldn't get them at all. They must have just been in the long grass. I mean, or they could have eaten it quickly and moved on. Maybe there was nothing even left. And then I tried to find the sausage tree pride again. No luck yet. We're in the area. We're in their favorite spots. I just don't know where they are or where they've gone. Sneaky cats, those ones. They really, really, really are sneaky. I can't believe we haven't seen any bats either, because they would be good to have around to catch all the insects. Ooh. Oh, cool. Hang on. There's a hippo coming out. Is it a hippo? Am I shining on it? Please don't run away from us, hippopotamus. It's a big one crossing the road this time. Sorry, I'm not getting there quick enough to show you it completely out in the open, but the grass is really short, so I'll just quickly show you this. Here it goes. Hi, hippopotamus. Also, I feel like I'm going to sneeze, or my allergies have caught up to me all of a sudden. I feel very stuffy. But there it goes. Just moving away from the Mara River. Stopping and staring. Very cool to see a hippo. That looks very scary. That's the scariest hippo I've ever seen. But enough about the animals that walk about at night. We've got an exciting group of animals with Jamie, and they're very quick off the mark, so let's go back to her.
Our cheetah are well and truly on their way this evening. I've just been thinking about how many animals I've seen tonight, and let me tell you that most of them have been insect-based. So you'll notice while we're sitting here, there's constantly these little dots of movements in front of your screen. That, of course, is the insects that are flying around us. Many of you, I'm sure, would like to come and join us in the Mara at night, but don't come. I wouldn't advise it if you're afraid of bugs, because they are crawling all up my neck, in my hair, down my shirt. I don't even know what's happening behind me with poor Jahawi and his hair. I can only imagine that they are having a whale of a time. Right, we've got 1 more minute left. I just had to catch up with them quickly, and we're going to watch them walk away. Unfortunately, I'm not going to go racing across ahead of them because it'll be risky for me and them in the dark. So this will be our last view of the 5 Musketeers for tonight. But of course, we will be following their story for weeks to come. If they allow us to find them, of course. Hey, gentlemen. Sleek, elegant, and the perfect team. Okay, it's time for us to do our goodbyes and our thank yous. Thank you to Jahawi for his wonderful camera work, as always, actually. And thank you to Faith, who I think this was her first proper full solo. Well done to Ralph for his interview drive. But most importantly, the biggest thank you, of course, goes to all of you. Thank you for sending through your questions and comments. We look forward to seeing you on the Sunrise Safari. Bye-bye, everybody. Sawa. Insects.
One is really intense and going up my trousers.